Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are all welcome to the Seller Media Scholar Forge graduation celebration and ceremony. My name is Kamo Mata Nathaniel. And by God's grace, I will be your anchor for today. And without so much waste of time, as we are already behind schedule, I just want to begin with a word of prayer. And I would just want to ask Enoch, Dami, Dami, to open with a word of prayer. So Enoch, Dami, if you can hear me, I would love you to just begin this wonderful session with a word of prayer. So over to you, Enoch. Okay, from the house, if you can hear me and I'm audible enough, let me just have you send a thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thank you, Mr. TJ. Thank you, John Seller. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I can see, so it means I'm audible enough. So over to you, Mr. Enoch. Dami. Dami.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
We are in prayers. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. In Jesus' name, eternal rock of ages, the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Thank you for giving us this day. Thank you for constant community. As we begin this liberation and graduation ceremony, we ask God for guidance. We ask God for protection. We ask God for the successful celebration and graduation. In Jesus' name. And whatever is going to be done today shall be done to the glory of God. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. So once more, you're all welcome. And from whatever part of the world you are in, I bring you greetings from Nairobi, Kenya. My name is Kamo Matanakami, and by God's special grace, I will be your anchor for tonight. Such a wonderful pleasure to have each and every one of you on this meet tonight from wherever it is you're plugging from. And I must mention that indeed tonight, celebrating this wonderful set of people that we all have here and celebrating the unity between the Caribbean and Africa's next generation of scholars. Indeed, it is a milestone that we are proud as the Salem Media Scholars Forge to indeed see come to pass. And so, without further ado, I just want to mention that it's a privilege. It's not something we take for granted, and most importantly, the fact that the Caribbeans and Africa over the years have shared quite, and I would say quite a remarkable history. And other than the fact that tonight we stand to celebrate this remarkable dawn, one that spans continents, one that shapes cultures and histories, with 13 proud nations from the Caribbean and 54 states across Africa. This gathering represents a powerful intersection of identity, resilience, and shared purpose. In this training cohort alone, over 10 nations are represented, a living testament to the vision of unity that has long existed between Africa and the Caribbean. Through Salem Media Africa platform, we are not only connecting online, but building bridges that reflect a legacy of collaboration and mutual upliftment. Under the theme, Raising Africa and the Caribbean's Next Generation of Scholars, we recognize that this is more than a milestone, it's a movement. Movement that celebrates our shared heritage, empowers our youth, and sets the stage for a future shaped by global thinkers rooted in strong and united identities. As we graduate today, we carry forward the spirit of unity, excellence, and cross-continental collaboration. Together, we rise. And once more, I welcome each and every one of you from wherever it is you have plugged in tonight to this meeting. A warm welcome. Now, at this juncture, I would just want to introduce or bring to or hand over the mic now to a quite special person. To officially begin today's event, it's my pleasure to welcome our host, a dynamic young African scholar and development practitioner whose work continues to inspire creativity, leadership, and social transformation across the continent. Our host, John Sele Philip, is a Nigerian born scholar, development practitioner, and media innovator based here in Nairobi, Kenya. He holds a bachelor's degree in theology with a minor in development studies from Africa International University, where he also lectures in the Department of Development Studies. He is currently pursuing his master's in development studies, specializing in the theology of development. John is the founder and CEO of Content Creators Hub alongside Seller Media Africa, a platform empowering young creatives and advancing media for social impact. His research interests span poverty alleviation, governance, peace building, social inclusion, and the intersection of faith and development. He has co-authored several scholarly works addressing inequality, community empowerment, and role of faith-based institutions in sustainable development. Formerly serving as the international students representative at Africa International University and recognized as an ambassador of peace. He remains passionate about unity, dialogue, and community transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming our host, Mr. John Sele Philip. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you so much, Nathaniel, for such a remarkable contribution. Keep the clapping coming. Keep the clapping coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Great scholars from Africa, great scholars from the Caribbean, our distinguished guest, and the great team, admirable team, and dedicated team from Sele Media Africa. I celebrate you and I highly welcome you all to this great, momentous event. I'm so proud and very humble to declare this graduation officially open for us to celebrate about seven hardworking and great scholars from Africa, from the Caribbean, who have studied diligently. Good, TJ, you can turn your camera so that we can see you. who have studied diligently up to this moment of graduation. We celebrate you. We love you, and I'm very happy. That is Monifa. Good, good, good. You can open your camera. Let us show the world the greatness of my students. I'm so happy and very proud of all of you. You have really done well. You have really done well, and I'm so happy. And I want to celebrate you. I want to celebrate you today. So today is a very great day, and it's a very great day not just for the students, but even for the life of Select Media Africa. That yes, we are achieving our single most important vision, and that is to amplify the unheard African voices. And the Caribbeans, according to in the words of my friend TJ, their root is from Africa. So when I mention Africa, I am also talking about the great people of the Caribbean. Today is a very great day that even Africans across Africa have the privilege to meet their brothers from the Caribbean, and these great brothers and sisters from the Caribbean have the privilege to meet their brothers from Africa. It is really a thing of joy. And this class we started with about about 30 people who registered for the course, but today we are celebrating 7 people. 7 is a very big and a very important number. And it is a thing of joy that about 7 great scholars have added to our number in in Africa and in the Caribbean. That means we have new people, new set of researchers who will begin to address developmental issues, theological issues, educational issues in the Caribbean and in Africa. And through this research, we will be able to have solutions for our problem. Today, you're going to hear different topics which address real issues, real human issues. And these guys have done a lot of work. They passed through a lot of rigorous research and rigorous training, right? In fact, this program was budgeted 2 hours per day. They will end up spending even beyond 3 hours because the work was very serious, it was very tedious, and these guys put all the sacrifice. So we are having them today. It is through their hard work, and nobody that will be graduated today that did not finish his or her research. All of them write, all of them complete their research and send forward for publication. And today we are going to celebrate these great scholars. And it gives me joy to welcome you, especially the students. We have a student from South Africa. We have a student from St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a Guyana, right? I was telling a friend today about Guyana, and he was like, is there a country like Guyana? Today they'll have the privilege to meet a person from Guyana, isn't it? We have a student from Uganda, close to us in East Africa here. We have a student from Jamaica, right? Elijah, are you here? Can we see you? And I hope when you are presenting
Yes,
your
I'm here.
good. We hope you're going to speak in Jamaican.
Definitely.
Good. We have Sierra Leoneans in this class as well, about 2 scholars from Sierra Leone, whom we are graduating today, and one currently from Sierra Leone but reside in China. And this is about 2 a.m. in China. Was able to make the sacrifice to join. Vandy, you're welcome. And all the great people from Africa, our distinguished guest, our chief guest, Dr. Leonard, is here. Please give him a hand of clap. Welcome him. Dr. Leonard is here. Clap for him. You are highly welcome, sir. We have Mr. Polycarp. Is Mr. Polycarp around? Give him a hand of a clap. And Dr. Samdung Africa. Give him a round of applause. Also, let's welcome our partner. We have a partner from the Content Creators Hub. The Chief Operating Officer of Content Creators Hub, Mr. Hiram Mafeng Bakwal, is also here. Let's give him a round of applause. And also the rector of the Jos Film Institute, Jos Film and Technical Institute in Jos, Nigeria. Let's give him a round of applause. Let's give him a round of applause. And all the great people that have joined this session, we are streaming this session live, and there are people watching us live on YouTube. So all our presentations will be there. You can share the link to your friends to follow, to watch you live. That video will remain there. You can always make a reference to it. And let's make this day a great one. Don't be boring. In as much as we are online, we can still make it lively, isn't it? Because our classes are always lively. We discuss issues, we argue issues as scholars. And today, I want you to make this event very memorable for yourself, very memorable for others, and let's make the Eagle Scholars Forge a very great and a very powerful event that will continue not just in Africa, but even in the Caribbean. And who knows, we may even touch sight of Europe, since we mostly use their books at some point. Now we are soon going to start hearing about autism from the Caribbean, right? We are soon going to start hearing about decolonization of the church in Africa, especially South Africa. We are going to hear about digital literacy and even political misinformation in Uganda and many others. These people, you see them in this class. Out of 30 people, these guys have worked judiciously. And I want us to honor them and celebrate them and give them the award and the accolade they deserve. And it is my great and single honor to welcome you all to this event. And I celebrate you and I love you. Selen Media Africa love you. We are achieving our vision of amplifying the African unheard voices, including the genocide in Plateau State, Nigeria, including the African scholars' voice. Now we have even a website where your stories will be published, where we can even feed AI with your information, right? I believe the great introductory that was read about me, I'm sure he did quite a number of research, in as much as he know me so closely, but I'm sure he did quite a number of research, isn't it? Because some of the things I wasn't expecting him to call. So these guys, you're welcome. You're welcome, and we love you so much. TJ, you're welcome. Simiso, you're welcome. Elijah, you're welcome. Monifa, you're welcome. Vandy, you're welcome. Let me see others. Masa, you're welcome. All of you, Santige, you're welcome. And the team from Selen Media Africa, you are highly welcome. One of our guests, Polycarp Zongo, just joined. You can also give him his flowers. So thank you so much. God bless you. You will hear more about Selen Media Africa when the time comes from our chief of staff. So thank you so much, Nathaniel, for the coordination of the program. God bless you all, and you are highly welcome to this great, momentous event. God bless you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I think one of my biggest mentor in the banking industry, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, one of the biggest banks in America, would say, he once quoted and said, you cannot have it all. Yes, he said you cannot have it all. You just can have it all. No, you can't have it all. Yes, you can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. And to be honest, John Seller Philip is one man who, under his leadership, I have learned that one step at a time, you get to have literally every single thing you ever dream of, every single thing you ever want for yourself that is good. And so John, over the years, have been consistent in building things and systems around his dreams, around things he is more passionate about. And John Seller Philip is one man I, as an individual, is so proud of. And I believe for every student graduating tonight, I can confidently say you are equally proud of the young man, Ambassador John Seller Philip. So once more, thank you so much, sir, and God bless you. So at this juncture, without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome a dynamic leader and strategic mind behind one of Africa's most innovative media platforms, Chief of Staff at Selen Media Africa. Susan plays a pivotal role in driving the organization's mission to empower young creatives and advance media for social impact. With her keen leadership, organizational expertise, and dedication to innovation, she ensures that Selen Media Africa runs smoothly, effectively, and with purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Susan Selen Daniel. Over to you, man. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Antonio, for all the yeah, all welcome. Okay, this is just a brief about Telemedia Africa. Telemedia Africa is an independent pan-African media organization headquartered in Jos, Nigeria. Our mission as a media organization is to amplify the unheard African voices, especially the ongoing genocide against Christians in Nigeria. The voices of Africans, just like the voices of African scholars, just like yours. With the eagle as as our symbol, we soar high above the noise to bring clarity, truth, and fearless storytelling to your reach. With the efforts of our dedicated journalists, we publish over 600 headlines per month, and we make 4 videos per day, giving us a total of 28 videos each month. Our future goal is to open our headquarters in Jos, Nigeria as soon as possible. Now, permit me to introduce the Selling Media Africa team to you all, and we have a total of 15 staffs all in all. Okay, first on my list, we have Miss Some as our reporter from Kenya, Miss Ebere Azunwa, our reporter from Anambra State, Miss Amarachi Ihoma, our reporter from Taraba State. We have Miss Jennifer Dimas, our Chief Marketing Officer from Taraba State, but currently in Abuja. We have Mr. Chisomo Firi, the Managing Director of Seller Media Malawi, Mrs. Imbia Willis, our voiceover artist from Kaduna State, but currently in Jos. We have Mr. Enoch Damidami, our reporter from Niger State. We have Mr. Joshua Ishaku, our managing editor from Taraba State, but currently in Jos. We have Mr. Amos Dachun, the head of digital media from Jos, Nigeria. And we have Miss Mariani Fasesan Opeyemi, our editor in chief from Oyo State. And myself, Miss Susan Daniel Sele, the chief of staff of Sele Media Africa. And at the top, we have our visionary leader, the founder and CEO of Sele Media Africa. Now, let me move on to the Eagle Scholars Forge. It is an initiative of Sele Media Africa, a premier academic development program dedicated to empowering African scholars and even beyond Africa through rigorous training in scholarly writing, research, and publication. We are committed to forging a new generation of confident, skilled, and impactful researchers who will elevate African voices in the global academia. Thank you so much. Once again, I say a very big congratulations to all the scholars graduating today. So high like the eagle, strong, visionary, and unyielding. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be part of this program. Thank you so much, Mr. Nathaniel. You can carry on.
All right. Thank you so much, Susan Sele Daniel, Chief of Staff, Sele Media Africa. Such a visionary leader. And I would just say that, you know, you were born to make an impact and not just a living. A lot of us just want to, make a living, and then every day people say we are the living, but the standard of living wants to kill even the living. So I believe so that we just don't get when I say get choked hold by the standard of living, we need to at least also learn to make impact. And that's why tonight we are celebrating individuals who have yielded to the call to make impact, not just in Africa, but as far as to the Caribbean. And so tonight, it's my singular privilege to welcome our first presenter. I'm a bit very careful because these names are not they're not local. I would say they're not my local names. So I want to make sure I'm getting it word for word. So just give me a second. I want to make sure I rehearse the name myself very well before I go on to call this person. So this first person a, is a scholar all the way from Uganda. And ladies and gentlemen, permit me to welcome Massa Samuel, whose article topic is Digital Democracy, Public Health, and Disinformation, Managing Health Misinformation During Electoral Periods in Uganda. So please, with a round of applause, help me welcome Massa Samuel. You're welcome, sir.
Masa, you can also open your camera. Let the great people see you. Let's see your face.
Yes, good evening, colleagues. Well, my name is Massa Samuel. Unfortunately, because of my background, I may not open up my camera. Okay, anyway, I am a married man and I have a little baby in the background that I'm taking good care of. Okay, now off that, back to our research. Thanks to the colleagues who have challenged me and those who have given me the opportunity to push to my aspirations. So my name is Massa Samuel. I am a medical practitioner and I'm a student of public health. And my interest has always been research. So at the center of our table today, we have digital democracy, public health and disinformation, managing health misinformation during electoral periods in Uganda. So this topic is quite interesting because we are in the electoral times in Uganda, and misinformation has been some of the challenges that we're having that the government is not giving attention to. So I'm using this time to present to you this challenge. So the background, so the rapid dissemination of digital health related misinformation via unregulated and untapped digital channels has been seen more so during the time of elections in Uganda. So Uganda lacks an integrated analysis of how digital misinformation, political dynamics, and health communication interact. So this is the triad that we are looking at. We are looking at digital misinformation. We are looking at the electoral system, the political dynamics, and the health communication. And the aim of our article, it is to examine how digital democracy, health, and electoral systems interact in Uganda. Of course, we're going to identify the risks and opportunities for governance, public trust, and health outcomes. Our research gap, it is the limited studies. Okay, I have not come across local studies that have covered this. Much of it has been between different borders of different countries, and most of it has been in the West. So the methods, of course, I used a mixed method approach. I was scoping out different reviews for this article. And the outcomes and contributions, of course, identification of key interactions among digital democracy, health, and electoral systems. That is the triad that I've looked at. Then, of course, we are going to map pathways for misinformation and politicizing.
Identity is a calling, it's not just a credential. When we talk about scholarship, especially in Africa and the Caribbean, scholarship is not an escape from struggle. but it is a participation in transformation. You are being engaged in order to bring change. You are being engaged to bring a paradigm shift, because Africa has gone back so backward. And so we need to clearly define our identity, whereby it is a dynamic calling, not just talking about credentials. So when we talk about scholarship, it's not about writing to impress or writing to show that, yes, I have something, I have the credentials, I have the qualification, and so on. But as Ngugi wa Thiong, 1986, insists that knowledge becomes liberating only when it is rooted in our people's lived realities. So you see, your writing must come from an ideology. It must come from a mindset whereby you are aiming at impacting, bringing about change, not just writing for writing's sake, not just writing for you to be known, but you are writing with a purpose, and not just a purpose. You are writing to impact, and not just to impact. You are writing in order to change realities, especially realities in Africa. Africa for long has been seen as a continent that is not moving forward. Even when we have great things to present to the world, it is not being taken seriously. And so, as even Fanon 1961 similarly reminds us that every generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission. In other words, you must discover why you exist in order to fulfill it, or you either betray it. Rick Warren, in his writing, he says that the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but it's a life without a purpose. So, as a scholar, do you have a purpose? Do you have a target? What do you aim to achieve? Are you just trying to add to your CV, or you have something to offer? Of course, scholarship has to do with something you have observed that you want to bring about a change and transformation. That is why this topic is dealing with not just writing to impress, but you are writing in order to transform, in order to change the order of things. So your mission as a graduating scholar is not simply to know more, but to heal more, to understand more, to question more, and to inspire more. So as you have graduated, or you're graduating today, the aim of your writing, you know, is to bring about healing. It's not to display your expertise. It's not to display that you know or you have learned, but what are you translating from what you have learned? So you must prove to us that as a scholar, your writing must bring about healing. Your writing must bring more understanding. And your writing must raise a lot of questions and will inspire many. Paulo Freire, 1970, he states a theory of critical consciousness. And he says that the theory of critical consciousness reinforces this. That is, true scholarship awakens awareness, challenges domination, and empowers communities to act. Your writing must raise, your writing must touch worlds, it must touch lives, it must bring about a change that things have to move to a greater level. So you are bringing about awakening. You're awakening people from slumber. You are raising issues that will make people to think, to sit down, and to act. Thus, scholarship, especially in African scholarship, is a calling not to display intelligence, but to redeem society, not to build careers, but to build communities. So as you are into this writing, what do you aim to achieve? And what will your writing do to us as Africans? And very critical is that your writing or your scholarship is not just to display your intelligence or your knowledge, but you must be able to redeem our society that has been seen for long as a black and a dark age kind of society. You are not just building a career, but you're building communities to be positive, to be actionable, and to move the next generation. Therefore, writing to transform. The scholar's pen is an instrument of change. Hear me again. A real scholar's pen it's an instrument of change. It's an instrument of transformation. So writing is one of the most powerful tools of transformation. Why? Because it shapes worldviews, it guides policies, and preserves memory. It brings about those things that have been forgotten, those good values. We must put them into writing and must bring about a change, must bring about transformation. It must change the worldview, and it must guide the policies and of our nation. Most of our African nations are suffering, and it is writing real scholarship that will bring about change. Transforming narratives. One of our great African writers, Chinua Achebe, he wrote, "Things Fall Apart." He did not write "Things Fall Apart" from or for applause, but he wrote it to correct the colonial misinterpretation of Africa. And he said, until the lions produce their own historians, the story of the hunt will glory. And this is transformative writing. This is a scholarship that moves from to bring about a change. It must change policies, evil and bad governance or government policies. Your writing should be able to challenge such. You must be able to promote the rights of the vulnerable in the society, not just women. We have a lot of vulnerable people in the society. Your writing can bring about a change. Transforming communities. Your writing as a scholar must transform the community. What do I mean by that? Remember, in the post-genocide in Rwanda, we discovered that local scholarship informed the Gakaria community courts, enabling culturally grounded reconciliation. And so without scholars willing to engage real social wounds, such healing would have been impossible. So you can see that your writing can change the order of things as you take it seriously. Well, I am a development student at Africa International University, and my specialty, that's my concentration, is in peace building and conflict resolution. And as I was writing this paper, I discovered that in peace building, research on early writing systems, ethnic tensions, and social cohesion has prevented violence in places like Kenya's Rift Valley and so many other places. That means that scholarship, that is scholarship with a purpose. You can write and then things will change. So sometimes it's not all this peace building, peace negotiation. It does not work sometimes. But your writing can be able to bring about solution to a long time problem that has been lingering. Therefore, as scholars, you must resist the temptation to write merely to impress. Most people just write to add to their name, to add to their CV for people to know them. But you must write not just for merely impressing people. So the academy often rewards complexity over clarity. But aimless intellectualism is a luxury Africa cannot afford. What I mean by that is that, yes, you can do a writing that even has nothing to offer. but you can be rewarded. But your writing must be clear. Your objective must be clearly spelled out. What is your problem statement? What do you intend to address? You're not just looking for topics. You're not just looking for what to write about, but you are writing to address issues. So you must forget about displaying of intellectualism, but you must be able to write in order to change, in order to impact, in order to move, bring about a shift from one angle to another. So the vanity trap that is before us, that needs to be addressed, is not just writing to impress, but you must turn your scholarship into a kind of a clear dimension of move, making a move. So writing to impress turns scholarship into performance. And what that does is that it breeds shallow complexity, it breeds elitist jargon, it breeds publications without impact. As Amartya Sen, 1999, warns that development is meaningless unless it expands people's real freedom. So the same is true of scholarship. It is empty unless it expands people's real possibilities. So if your writing does not bring about reality, does not bring the possibilities of reality, then your writing is as equal as just a jargon. So imported scholarship versus indigenous knowledge. Too often, African scholars produce Western theories without contextual adaptation. Mandani, 1996, criticizes this as the recycling of colonial categories that fail to explain African governance and social dynamics. Therefore, purposeful scholarship begins with our stories, our data, and our contexts. Therefore, you must write to a kind of project the positivities and the impact that our governance is able to make, so that you are able to transform the social life of people. So you must start with your own stories. I want to see scholars writing using African names, using your communal names. Bring out data from within your community. Speak to people from your own context. Let them understand. Like one of the presenters who soon will be speaking to us is Dr. Samdun. He's my in-law. I respect him. All his children, he gave them Birom names. He gave them tribal names, and all these names have meaning. It brings us back to our context, to our cultural heritage, to see that we have something to offer. Everything has been westernized. Even our food has been westernized. Why can't you use names from within your community? Write about the conflicts we have lived through. Like in my country, Nigeria, Boko Haram have given us sleepless nights. What they could not achieve during Usman Danfodio is what they are claiming that they want to achieve, which is not possible. So we need people who will write to bring back that history, to give it a new touch with contextual realities and complexities that is going to bring dynamics of our context in order to bring about transformation. So the inequalities we have experienced, put them into writing. We are fond of lamenting and crying for what we're going through. Put those facts into writing. Bring the data, bring proofs. The resilience we have witnessed. Our forefathers fought, they stood. Like in my culture, it is well known. these several attacks, several, kind of communities came to attack. They could not succeed. Is it now that they will succeed? Those stories, those contexts, those data, those presentations, bring them out so that the world should know that we had some good moments and we have to push further to bring back those realities again. So do not write to impress international audiences, write to impact local realities. You are the one that can speak for yourself. Nobody will speak for you. Nobody will defend you. Nobody will stand for you. Bring out your stories. Any experience. They just told you about what I experienced with Boko Haram. I'm writing a book. I want to bring my own story with the data so that people should understand. Many people make noise without knowing your context. Now, practical pathways for purpose-driven scholarship. Write with clarity, write with courage and compassion. You must be fearless as you confront issues as you write. Your goal is not to sound intelligent, but to communicate truth. The CEO of Sele Media Africa, I respect this young man. He is a young man, but he has passion. If you see the courage, when he speaks, you know somebody is talking. He speaks facts. He speaks realities. Most of his writings try and interact. We have co-authored some publications with him. I see the passion this young man has. So you don't write. Your goal or your purpose in writing is not to sound intelligent. No. Your writing must be able to communicate truth. Bring out, outline the truth, present the truth. Don't be intimidated. Ground your work in African and Caribbean contexts. Use local case studies, local languages, and community voices whenever possible. Once you get the opportunity, use things that are familiar with your terrain. You'll be able to explain them better. But if you begin to write with a westernized ideology, there are things you cannot even explain. Like some of us, even the English, we cannot even speak it well. But your context, you'll be able to present your case. Move from analysis to actionable recommendations. So as scholars, you must not only diagnose problems, but you must prescribe solutions. Some people just write and leave people hanging. No. Why do you have a lot of gaps? Write, bring a solution, prescribe a solution. As a writer, you are a doctor already. You have something to offer. You have a healing. As you are writing, you're telling us that you have medication to the problem you're proposing. You don't just write and leave it hanging. Publish beyond academia. Write op-eds, policy briefs, blog posts, and community manuals. Knowledge must reach the streets, not just journals. Let it not just end there, so that when they interact with your work, it will raise awareness. It will awaken those who are sleeping. It will bring about action. You must embrace participatory knowledge creation. Freire, 1970, reminds us that the people are co-creators of knowledge. Research with communities, not merely about them. Here it again. Research with communities, not merely about them. So when you're writing about a community, like for me, I came from Nyango. I'm proud of that place. Write with that orientation in mind. Don't write about that place, but write as you are with the community. Write prophetically. Let your work challenge injustice, corruption, and systems. So your work must be able to address issues. You must be able to challenge the injustice we face in our countries. You must be able to confront corruption. You must be able to confront the systems that destroys human dignity. Your assignment as the next generation of scholars. Africa and the Caribbean stand at a critical historical moment. Global transformations that political upheavals, technological shifts, climate change, demographic growth demand scholars who are not passive observers but active shapers of history. Oh my God. That is what we want to see. Shape the history, change the order of things. The issue of technological shifts, climate change, demographic growth, and so on and so forth. We need scholars that will change the next generation, not just passive observers. You hear things, you lament, it ends there. No, take action. When they read your writing, it should provoke somebody to action. You will be able to shape certain issues as you do that. And one of such issues is peace building in conflict zones. Your writing can change the conflict and you'll bring about peace. Ethical leadership in governance, indigenous development models, theological renewal, youth empowerment, climate resilience, digital innovation, and so on. Therefore, your pain will influence generations. That is why this your training. Don't take it for granted. Conclusion. As I conclude, I have a charge as fresh graduates who have gone through this rigorous training. I have a charge for you. As you step out today, remember this. Africa and the Caribbeans do not need more impressive scholars. No. They need impactful scholars. I'm going to repeat for emphasis. What I'm saying here, and which is my charge to you, is that Africa and the Caribbeans do not need more impressive scholars. They don't need political scholars. They don't need people that want to just make people smile. No. We need impactful scholars, scholars that will change the order of things, scholars that will shift the society, the societal nonsense that we see. Some of our leaders, when they stand to speak, they talk nonsense. They talk from an uninformed point of view. Therefore, Africans need men and women whose research heals broken systems. Most of our systems are sick. Africans, when they enter some countries, they are being seen like something else, like criminals. Your writing must heal the broken systems. Whose writing strengthens community resilience and whose knowledge liberates the oppressed. May your scholarship be purposeful. May your words build bridges. And may your research transform societies. And may your writing become a torch lighting the path for generations after you. Congratulations, Eagle Scholars. Go forth and write, not to impress, but to transform. Shalom.
Come on. Let me have those claps rising. Let me have them rising. Let me just have them rising, please. Let me have them rising. Come on, that was powerful. Let me say it again. Africa and the Caribbeans no longer need impressive writers. They no longer need political authors. They need impactful scholars. So tonight, I want you to ask yourself that question. Are you ready to leave tonight as a graduate of this course to be an impactful scholar, or to just go and be another impressive, very intelligent, author or writer or scholar? So, ladies and gentlemen, that was it from Reverend Polycarp Zongo. Please, let's give him a round of applause just once more. That was wonderful. Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, the knowledge that has been poured out has been meaningful, and we promise to take it into action. Thank you so much, sir, and God bless you more and more. And at this juncture, I just want to tell you that the next presenter we'll be having is going to be a testament of everything Reverend Polycarp has mentioned. This I can say with so much confidence that the next presentation we'll be listening to brings about healing. The next presentation we will be listening to is not all about intelligence, it's not about politics in the Caribbean, but about an impact that goes far beyond individuals, that goes far beyond women, but that one that drives deep into the fiber and linen of family. And so, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, just permit me to welcome, and like I said, you would always give me time with these names because I don't want to get it wrong. These names are not, they're not local. So I want to give it the best attempt. So this scholar, like I said, his topic brings about healing, his writing brings about, would I say, impact. So listen to this, listen to it carefully. This prolific scholar is called T.J. Whitaker. And this scholar is coming from Jamaica and St. Kitts and Nevis. His topic, like I said, listen, it brings about healing, not just to individuals, but to families. The psychological impact of absentee fathers on youth in developing countries. And remember, we spoke about perspective, context. He has drawn it down to the context as study of the Caribbean region. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our prolific scholar, TJ, for his presentation. You're welcome, sir.
Wow, this is indeed a pleasure, a privilege. And how can I even take the seat after Reverend Polycarp with that powerful presentation? I am really challenged. It's really a blessing listening to all of that. I was hoping that you would continue on, but our presentations, they must be presented. Thank you very much for that. All righty. Let me share my screen. Okay, great. Here we go. So I am T.J. Whitaker, again from Jamaica and St. Kitts and Nevis in the Caribbean. And the topic that I've been dealing with is the psychological impact of absentee fathers on youth in developing countries, a study of the Caribbean region. And before I move forward, I must say this is not just about any writing or just giving information that I would have researched, but it's also coming from a personal experience where I have gone through the thick and the thin, where I have gone through the valleys of dealing with this societal issue, recognizing that it is not only plaguing me, but the Caribbean by extension and the wider world. And so we have a crisis concealed in plain sight. We see it every day, we hear it every day, but the truth is that nothing is being done about it. So father absenteeism remains a widespread social reality across the Caribbean that is fueled by migration for economic opportunity, fragile parental relationships, incarceration, and persistent economic hardship. And these conditions expose youth to emotional instability. We see it every day as a guidance counselor. I see it in the school, in the classrooms. We see it on the street. In our communities as a pastor, I see it every day. Behavioral struggles and identity disruption within family systems already under strain and with limited access to mental health support. And we need to recognize that there is a cost that we have to pay, and we have been paying as a result of father absenteeism. We have the emotional instability, where youth experience heightened anxiety, depression, and attachment difficulties when father figures are absent from daily lives. Of course, we know that this leads to some of them committing suicide. We recognize some of them are now involved in other things, trying to seek attention because of this missing part of their life. Behavioral challenges, increased risk of aggression, academic disengagement, and involvement in risky behaviors as coping mechanism. We recognize the identity disruption, of course, confusion about gender roles, self-worth, and belonging within families and community structures. And I pause here not to hit on the matrifocal homes, but the truth is the value, the invaluable role of a father, it cannot be replaced by any woman. And normally we hear this, especially on Father's Day, I am the mother and the father of the child, coming from mothers, because they would have been left alone, raising their children. So they take on the role of being mothers and fathers. But I have to challenge that misconception, because there is still a societal lack, and there is still issues within the society as we look at the cost of absentee father. Now, the root causes in the Caribbean context: first, the economic migration. Fathers, they leave seeking better opportunities abroad, creating physical and emotional distance from children. We see the fragmented relationships, high rates of parental separation, and informal unions lead to inconsistent father involvement. We see that our fathers are going into prison. The criminal justice system impacts this disproportionately remove fathers from the Caribbean household, and that our children are left to be raised only by mothers, or sometimes by society, coming in to give whatever help they can. We have the systemic poverty, where economic hardship strains family structure and limits resources for maintaining connection. Now, when I look at this, as I spent hours, days, dealing with this research, I realized that most of the research and the literature that I interacted with, maybe 30 plus literature articles, they were primarily in South Africa, in Africa on a general basis, the North America, Central, the Latin America. And so we realize that there is somewhat of a major gap in the Caribbean setting in culturally grounded research that integrates psychology, sociology, pastoral care within the developing countries context. Right? So we realize the issue, and that is why I believe this article is going to give such an impactful reach in the Caribbean and the wider society. Right? Current literature overwhelmingly focusing on the Western population, leaving the Caribbean experiences under-examined and misunderstood. And so the research methodology that I employed is the Prisma-aligned design. It's a systematic scoping review following established protocols for transparent research synthesis. And we source selection, peer review studies, and regional reports published between 2018 and 2025 were systematically analyzed. And the focus areas, examination of emotional, behavioral, identity-related, and spiritual outcomes among youth age 10 to 24. Now, there are some protective factors that we recognize as well, and resilience, extended family networks. So the fathers are out, and as a result, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, and cousins step in to provide that sort of a stability and guidance and emotional support. We find the church and faith communities, the spiritual support and mentorship through pastoral care. that it offers meaning, belonging, and moral guidance. We see the community mentorship, where teachers, coaches, and community leaders model positive relationships and life skill. And we see where sports becoming a safe haven, structured programs providing discipline, teamwork, and healthy outlets for energy and emotions. And so what is it that I expect as a result of this this contribution? One, as I mentioned before, we see most of the articles and research coming from other parts of the world and not really in the Caribbean. So I want to have that academic impact. The study contributes a Caribbean informed framework linking father absenteeism to youth mental health, identity development, and resilience pathway. It fills critical gaps in cross-cultural psychology and developmental research specific to developing region, particularly the Caribbean. And there are some practical applications, evidence-based implications for counseling interventions, for ministry programs, educational support system, and regional policy and government development. We have highlights protective roles that can be strengthened through community investments as well. And so there are some keywords that would definitely come out in this research: father absenteeism, Caribbean youth, family systems, psychological impact, developing countries, and as well as identity development. And lastly, education for impact. And I want to reiterate this, as Reverend Polycarp would have done a wonderful job in saying it. I speak not only as a scholar, but as someone shaped by the very issue this study explores. And so today I present a generation of African and Caribbean scholars raising our voices for social healing, family restoration, and youth empowerment. Our education is not for applause, it is for impact. Thank you very much.
That's my student. That's my student.
Wow.
Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier before you even started, this paper was going to bring about healing. And if you know and you agree with me that it has been about healing, I want to see this claps rising. I want to see them rising. Please give Mr. TJ a round of applause. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. That was wonderful. And to be honest, I present to you, I am confident about that this is not just a scholar. This is someone who is ready to make impact in the Caribbean. So thank you so much, sir. And without further say or do, I just want to go to the next presenter. This is not, this is on another level. But this time around, we have someone, Sintige Pode Kamara, all the way from Sierra Leone. And he'll be giving us a very interesting topic for his article. And it says, assessing Sierra Leone's energy mix, hydro, thermal, solar, biomass, and their sustainability potential. So ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, I want us to welcome Sintige even as he presents his paper. You're welcome, Sintige. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, everybody. Well, let me just try to put it on screen so that everybody will see.
Also, Sintige, if you're in a good environment, you can open your camera and let the world see your face, like what TJ just did.
Oh, okay.
We love to connect with people across Africa. Wow.
Okay. I don't know if you can see me.
Perfectly. In fact, if this is your first time to see us reunion, please, I want to see those thumbs up.
Please let's celebrate them. Let's celebrate them with emojis. Good. You're welcome, Santiago.
Yes. Okay. Um, Let me try to present. So, this is my topic, assessing the current energy mix in Sierra Leone, uh, challenges and opportunities for diversification explored in hydro, thermal, solar, and biomass contribution and their sustainability. And of course, this topic is a this topic or is a problem that is affecting Sierra Leone as I speak. We have a problem in terms of energy that is affecting us. So, as Reverend mentioned, we are not just political scholars, but we need to solve problems in our society. Yes. So this is one of the problems that we have in Sierra Leone. So we look at the challenges and what are the opportunities that are available. So as a scholar, that is the reason why I decided to choose this topic because of our current challenge as a nation. So this is the topic. Then the next has to do with the the background and the problem. So currently, the energy system country is actually dominated by thermal generation, which means these thermal power plants, these generators that we are using, okay, and uh, people spend, or even governments spend a lot of money in generating electricity through these power plants. So we also have hydropower. So this one has left the national grid fragile, unpowered, and highly vulnerable to climate uh, variability. Despite abundant solar and biomass resources, diversification remains limited due to weak infrastructure and fragmented planning efforts and sustainable energy expansion. So in terms of solar, we have an abundant sun rays and even the biomass resources that is from this charcoal. Uh, so we have a lot of them. It's actually um, abundant. In fact, for the solar, um, we are not exhausting when it comes to the solar energy. Yeah, it's about, according to my research, the research I made is only 5% of the current usage of the solar energy. So that one is the problem. Now, aim to aim is the study aims to provide a holistic assessment of Sierra Leone's current energy mix by addressing the major gap and the lack of an integral evaluation of hydro, thermal, solar, and biomass contribution, their sustainability, and diversification opportunities within a unified analytical framework. So this is the gap that we have in terms of the hydropower plants, the thermal, the solar, and the biomass. So the next one is the methodology or the design. So the methodology is by a systematic Prisma guided scoping and review, synthesized peer review evidence, modeling system, studies and policy document 2018 to 2025 to critically evaluate energy contribution, sustainability, and the challenges, and also the diversification across Sierra Leone hydropower, thermal, solar, and biomass system. So we also have the expected contributions. What are the contributions of my study? So the contribution, the study offers a consolidated evidence base for strategic energy planning. And then all major sources and to long-term national energy security. So the findings provide the policy makers with practical framework for integrating renewable and reducing fossil fuel, because there is a heavy dependence on the fossil fuels. We actually import a lot of petrol from other countries. So that makes it, even the energy access is so limited and the cost is very high. In Sierra Leone, the cost of energy for 1 kilowatt per hour is about $0.3, which is very high. Okay, so we have, so to reduce this, we just need to integrate to the renewable energy form or the green energy. One of them, which I mentioned, is the solar energy system. So the keywords are energy mix, renewable energy, hydropower, solar energy, biomass, and Sierra Leone. So next is about the country. So Sierra Leone is a nation reliance and untapped potential. So there are a lot of untapped potential when it comes to energy, more especially in the solar, because currently we have about 350 megawatts that is supplying the whole country. When it comes to solar, when it comes to hydro, thermal, so all these four sources is about 350 megawatts. So which we actually need more than that. As a country, we need around 1,500 megawatts in order to have a stable energy. So in that case, this is an untapped potential, which we can able to shift in the solar energy, because we have a lot of sun rays in our country. Like, let me say around 6 hours per day. Okay, so it's a whether in education, infrastructure, or national development also presents an opportunity to innovate and reduce our future, as more deeply committed to capacity building, and transformative education. Believe that empowering learners with practical skills, critical thinking, and technological confidence is Sunrise path to the national progress. So, and coming to our class, so the class represents more than an academic learning. It's a platform to share, to shape thinkers, just like Reverend said, problem solvers and future leaders who would drive Sierra Leone growth. And I'm proud to contribute to this journey. So I want to say thank you to everybody for listening.
Wow, wow. Please let me have those hand claps, right? So let me have those hand claps, right? Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, understanding the sustainability potential of each energy source is vital for policymakers, investors, and communities alike, as inform strategic decisions that can drive economic growth, reduce environmental impact, and improve energy access for all Sierra Leoneans, and not just Sierra Leoneans only. I believe even for Nigerians, even for Ugandans, even for people from St. Kitts and Nevis, wherever you are, I think having an understanding of how to utilize the likes of solar, whatever, is really going a long way in helping not just the average Syrian, but even the, would I say, the elite, whosoever, as long as you are of that contextual location, I think it's beneficial to everyone. So this article, we really look forward to it being published so that we can learn, engage, and see solutions that will come as a result of this article in Sierra Leone. Thank you so much, sir, and God bless you. So on to the next impactful, as I would say, impactful scholar we'll be having. And like I said, it's like the keynote speaker who started off, and that's Reverend Polycarp. It's like he knew the kind of people we were grooming towards this day, because all of them, I feel like their articles, their approach is to give solutions to their local context. They're not just trying to be impressive, they're not trying to be intelligent, and that is why in just 6 slides, in just 10 slides, they can communicate the powerful impact they're about to make in their jurisdiction. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this particular point in time, I want to invite someone very special in this class. He has been very active, very contributive, and his accent is one of the things I love most about him, because I am African, and then when I hear him speak, I'm like, okay, this is beautiful. So I believe we all will be listening to him. He's called Elijah Cunningham. He is a Jamaican scholar, and he will be addressing an article topic, Understanding Depression in Young Jamaican Women, a study of cultural and social influences. All the women in the house, let me just see those hands waving. Let me just see them coming up. All the women here. Good. The women. All right, so you're welcome, Mr. Elijah. Thank you so much.
Greetings, everybody. Good afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I bring greetings to you.
Yes, I. Big up.
Yeah, man, big up on yourself. As you can see, I'm at work, but I could not miss this wonderful event. And shout out to my good friend TJ Whitaker. Let me say Reverend TJ Whitaker, who would have sent me the link so I could participate.
Respect, man.
Respect, right?
Participate in this course. Amen. And today I'll say I'm a proud graduate. So let me share my screen. How do I do this now? It's been a while since I've done this. How do I do this again? Oh, share screen. Okay. Screen. Okay, here we go. Y'all see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so a brief introduction of myself. My name is Elijah Cunningham.
I think you still need to present. Click present on the bottom left.
Present?
On the bottom left.
Left.
No, go back on the slide itself.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes, there you go. Yes, my name is Elijah Cunningham. I'm a Jamaican. Currently, I'm living in Angola for just about 4 months. I've been a police officer for over 10 years. I am a husband and I am a father. So being a police officer for such a long time, it has caused me to be in a position where I speak to a whole lot of females. And having dialogue with those females, I've come to realize that many of them are depressed, but they do not have the platform to share what they are going through. And even since of late, I found out that family members of mine, close family members, are going through depression, and that's not good for them none at all. That is not good, and it needs to be addressed. So the reason why me I do this article is so persons can understand what Jamaican woman really are go through in a time like this. So my topic is understanding depression in young Jamaican women, a study of culture and social influences. So the background and the problem, the depression is emerging as a significant mental health concern among young Jamaican women. Not only Jamaican women right across the world, but I'm narrowing my thing down to only the Jamaican women. So it is shaped profoundly by cultural expectations, social norms, and historical legacies that continue to influence Caribbean societies today. And Western diagnostic frameworks and therapeutic approaches often fail to capture the cultural nuances, ways that psychological distress, sorry, it manifests in Caribbean context, creating gaps in understanding and gaps also in the treatment. So the critical gap in mental health research. So as you can see on my slide here, the current research landscape. Let me zoom up for you guys. So most existing studies apply Western psychiatric models that were developed without consideration for Caribbean culture and context and experiences. So what is missing? Localized, genderized perspectives that account for the unique social positioning and cultural expectations facing young Jamaican women. That is missing from most of these researches. So I'm trying to address the gap so it can benefit not only Jamaican women, but also Caribbean women, African women, and women from wherever part of the world they exist. Me filling in these gaps can benefit them some way, somehow. So the research aim, as you can see, we have some wonderful Jamaican looking women to the left of the slide. The primary objective is to explore and document how young Jamaican women experience, understand, and express depression within their specific cultural and social contexts. The research focus centering the lived experience and voices of young women, examining how Caribbean cultural framework shape their mental health narratives and also their coping strategies. The methodology that will be used for this research: 1, the scope and review design; 2, qualitative synthesis; and 3, cultural framework. So 1, the scope and review design. It will be a comprehensive literature search across multiple databases with special attention to Caribbean-focused journals and regional publications. The qualitative synthesis will be a thematic analysis of findings with focus on culturally specific expressions of distress and help-seeking patterns. The cultural framework will be examining idioms of distress, gender-specific influences, social expectations, and community-based coping mechanisms. So moving over to the key research dimensions: idioms of distress. We know Jamaicans, they have some phrases that they use that oftentimes they are overlooked. Boy, I may not feel good. Not now go on. I'm a spirit heavy. Yeah, man. Reverend Whitaker would have known those terms. Yeah, man. Pressure the palm, pressure. Boy, not now, go on. Boy, I'm there, man. Yeah, so we'll be focusing on the idioms of distress, the cultural norms, help seeking, and also gender influences. Gender influences focusing on specific pressures and expectations placed on young women in Jamaican society. They expect Jamaican women to be women to be strong because Jamaica has a strong cultural background. So they're under pressure. And the cultural norms, traditional beliefs, values, and expectations that shape mental health experiences. We're going to address that as well because we realize Jamaican women are facing pressure concerning the cultural norms as well. Help seeking, looking at patterns and of supporting, seeking barriers to care and community resources utilized. So expected contributions now, policy and practice, we will provide evidence-based foundations for developing culturally responsive mental health policies and community interventions tailored to the Caribbean context since we're focusing on Jamaica. Clinical applications inform mental health practices about culturally sensitive approaches that honor local worldviews and healing traditions. And the academic impact, it will contribute to contributed to decolonizing mental health research by centering Caribbean voices and epidemiologists. So the key research words, as I've been saying over and over, Jamaican women, gender, idioms of distress, social influences, cultural psychology, and last but not least, most important one, depression. So this research, it seeks to honor the resilience and voices of Jamaican women, advocating for mental health approaches rooted in Caribbean culture, wisdom, and community strength. So by grounding this work in cultural humility and respect, we aim to contribute meaningful to mental health equity and culturally congruent care for Caribbean communities. Mental health is very important, and we cannot overlook the importance of such. We see many persons committing suicide, and persons are judging them. Say, I will never do this, I will never do that. But there's a thin line between sanity and insanity. And I'm writing this paper so the persons can really read and persons can really understand. And after reading the paper, they can seek to turn more attention to persons who are suffering from depression, which affects their mental health. So thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation.
Oh wow! Please let's put our hands together for Mr. Elijah
Yes, brother.
Cunningham.
Yes.
Well, I wasn't informed to ensure I add to Officer Elijah Cunningham. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's a thin line between sanity and insanity, and then we really need to look out for this research article because it will be published. Please let's interact, engage, review, and ensure we give our contributions to this wonderful article that will soon be published. Because, like we said, we are not just here to be impressive or sound intelligent, but we're here to make an impact, to make transformation. The pen of the author or the scholar, it brings about healing. And this one, ladies and gentlemen, I can guarantee will bring about healing to the young Jamaican women. So please participate this research article. It's now on the second Watch website. And then at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, we will have yet another prolific keynote address. And this is my privilege to welcome a man whose life reflects dedication, wisdom, and deep sense of purpose. He is respected not only for his academic insight, but also for the inspiration he brings to young people, emerging scholars, and leaders across Africa. Through his teachings, reflections, and public engagement, he challenges us to pursue excellence, work in purpose, and use our gifts to glorify God and transform society. His presence today is a reminder that knowledge is a calling, scholarship is a ministry, and leadership begins with character, humility, service. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in joyfully welcoming Dr. Y. aka Samdun Africa, a voice of wisdom, purpose, and transformative inspiration. Over to you, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Hello, everyone.
We can hear
Hi.
you.
Good to hear you.
It is indeed a great privilege to be one of you today. I am always proud and become so emotional whenever I'm speaking to my African brothers. Wherever you are, whether you are in Jamaica, you are in the Caribbean, you are in Asia, as long as you have a dark skin, you are an African. As such, our stories must not vanish. They must be told and they must be written. It's a great privilege hearing from my brothers from Jamaica and other parts of the country, Sierra Leone, and then from Kenya and all over the world. It is indeed a great privilege. I remain yours, Samdung Africa. In fact, I have to change my name to Samdung Africa because of the passion I have for all the black skin, black color, dark color, worldwide. And it is a privilege for me today as a Nigerian to speak and then talk and address my African brothers on issues that are disturbing us. The problem we have about African heritage is that we don't speak our stories to the whole world. We keep our stories to ourselves. And the culture, as I'm talking to you, is dying. Every black culture is dying away. It is being replaced. But naturally, all of us, we all know that we are the cradle of heritage. We are the cradle of humanity. So why should we let our culture die? Africans, we are the cradle of knowledge. We are the one that taught the whole world how to read and write. We taught them humanity. We taught them everything about religion and life. That is why I'm proud to tell you, I am proud to say this everywhere, that African culture is my religion, and then the Bible is my guide. So you can take it that way.
My goodness, this is powerful.
We are writing about Africa. So I'm to discuss shortly about the topic, why meaningful scholarship matters in a broken world. What are the broken walls? They took us as if we were the broken walls, but we are not the broken walls. Africans, we are not the broken walls. But in order to clarify some things, it will be better for me to put some things straight so that we know that we have a great work to do, especially Africans worldwide. If we don't write our history, they will write it for us.
Amen.
Before the colonialism, our great-grandfathers were knowledgeable. We know about the stars. We know about humanity. My grandfather, to be in particular, does medical works where he performs cesarean section without the knowledge of the whites. But why will they steal from us and tell us that that belongs to them? So we are proud to tell you, we develop America, we develop Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, as Africans, we must write our stories. So I'm discussing about the topic through examination of scholarship, activism, and social justice. My paper argues meaningful writing is not merely a tool for knowledge dissemination, but a powerful instrument for transformation. My study underscored the ethical responsibility of scholars to conduct research and writing that address social needs and contribute healings, equality, and justice in a global context. I will also highlight notable African scholars whose works have advanced the cause of freedom and liberation for Africa. As I say, as far as you are carrying a dark skin, you are an African. Check our history. I am so proud of Sele Media Africa for bringing African young scholars. This is one of its kind that I would love to do it again and again if you give me the opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, in an increasing fractured world, scholars are not only tasked with seeking, African scholars are not only tasked with seeking knowledge, but also using the knowledge to bring about positive society change. Traditional scholarship has often been critiqued for its detachment from strugglers faced by marginalized communities, particularly in Africa and other countries that share the similar identities with Africans. Writing for Africans. However, scholars are increasingly acknowledging their ethical responsibility to contribute to the creation of more equitable and just society. Writing for a cause can transcend academic boundaries and serve as an agent of social transformation. So I'm going to examine why meaningful scholarship matters in a broken world, focusing on African scholars and other parts of the world, like the Jamaicans and the Caribbeans and all globally, who have used the writing to advocate for freedom and justice. Historically, scholarship have been seen as the pursuit of knowledge and truth for its own sake. However, in the 21st century, scholars face a critical question. What is the value of knowledge in the world where systematic injustice, inequality, environmental degradation persist? Theoretical frameworks such as Pouliot's concept of education for liberation highlights the importance of education that is not neutral but actively engage the social struggle. Scholars can use this work to create knowledge that address the deep issue of social, political, economical inequality. The production of knowledge that serves both academic and social need is increasingly important in addressing contemporary global issues. My people, my African people, wherever you are, there is nothing wrong with Africans, but everything is wrong about people that looks at Africa as if everything is wrong. So, for that reason, Africa must arise to write about its history. Now in Nigeria, we are facing the issue of Christian genocide that have triggered global debates. This has been happening for over 40 years, but nobody to speak about it. But now that the African scholars are beginning to write about the struggles in Nigeria faced by religious people. I'm not a religious person. African culture is my religion, as I rightly said. But we must speak about oppression in Africa through our writing, it can take different dimension. But we must write about our culture, about our tradition. If not, one day, nobody will recognize us again. And that would be a pity. Meaningful scholarship extend beyond excellence. It seeks to engage and address real-world problems as Africans is facing now. Africans cannot stand on their own. Must we collect loans from the foreign bodies while we are the cradle of life? We have all the resources that have to take for us to move forward. But yet, we are struggling. They will come to our land, invade our land, carry our resources, take them to Europe, go and refine them, bring them back to us and sell them again. How do we advocate? We must put things in writing. I was telling someone that everything has been stolen from Africa because we don't write our history. They are writing our history for us. So it's a challenge for African scholars to rise up and write their history. Take example, the Bible. This was copied from the books of Africans, the dark books of all the laws in the Bible, almost everything. You will believe me that if you are a scholar and you have read about everything, the documentary about Africa, you will know that even the 10 Commandments, even the Bible, the story of creation, all were stolen from Africa. Why? Because we refuse to tell the world the truth. And now some people are telling us our story. That is why they call it his story. He's the one that created the story, his story. But it is time for African scholars to talk and speak about their own story, their story of creation. Who told us that our gods are evil? Who told us that Africa is a no-go area? They created the wars. We have been living in peace. But it is time for us scholars, as now, today, we are being launched into a scholarly world. It is time for Africa to work on their history, tell our history by ourselves. We must talk about the marginalization of Africa, how they maltreated Africa, how they dealt with us, how they packed our parents for slavery into foreign lands. They deceive us. They came to us that they need our help. Most of the slaves that were taken from Africa to other parts of the world, all those deals were done on deceit. So it is time for us Africans to rise up and write our history. The power of writing of words to drive social change cannot be overstated. Throughout history, writing has been a heart of many social movements, from the abolition works of Frederick Douglass to the feminist writing of Bell Hooks. Literature has been used as a tool of activism. In Africa, for example, where colonial wars, inequalities have created insignificant barriers to social justice, writing become a powerful form of resistance. We must write to show them that we know our history. They should not tell us our history. African scholars have long used their writing. Some have used the writing to challenge the narrative. That is why I am provoking you. I'm provoking you today to write your history again. Not a white man from Europe will sit somewhere and write our history and bring it to us, bringing division among us. You cannot walk freely in South Africa as a Nigerian. You cannot walk freely in South Africa as a Ugandan, as a Kenyan, as a whatsoever, because of xenophobia. We are building bridges. Before in Africa, you can travel to anywhere. You can walk anywhere, enjoy yourself. I believe that one day our Jamaican brothers and the Caribbean brothers will come to Nigeria to come and witness the first-hand history or the first-hand feelings about their heritage. We must write our history. They destroy us. They don't want us to live. But this is a time for young African scholars to rise up and write the history. I'm challenging us. One notable example of work of Chinua Achebe, whose seminal novel Things Fall Apart in 1958 critiqued the descriptive impact of colonialism in Africa. Achebe's writing served not only as a narrative of the past, but also a critic of the present, urging Africans to reclaim their history and identity. Similarly, Frantz Fanon, The Wretched of the Earth, when you read that, continues to influence the liberation struggle around the world, particularly for its analysis and psychological and political colonialism. Fanon argues that liberation required both mental and physical decolonization, making this work central for African freedom. Wherever you are, we're writing for the freedom and the liberation of our people. Don't just write for pleasure. Even when you are writing for pleasure, make sure that you put some impactful and historical facts that will make the world to know that we Africans, we are the cradle of humanity. The intersection of scholarly activism. The distinction between scholarship and activism has often been drawn sharply, and scholars consider separate from the movement by writing about it. However, many African scholars have successfully
This is Dr. Africa. Him changing name to Dr. Africa. Dr.
Hello. TJ.
My sincere apologies.
It's all right. As such, African scholars must write and rise up and fit the boots. If not, we are going into extinction. If you come to Africa, we no longer have the originality is missing. There are a lot of languages in Africa that are disappearing. They are going into extinction. What are we doing about it as African scholars? Let's write about our politics, our culture, our heritage, and everything that we can do. I think when we have a good time, we will talk very, very well about that. In addition, the political relation, writing plays a key role in peaceful reconciliation. Many people thought outside Africa, they thought we are living in Africa, we don't have peace. But that is not true. That's the narrative they are giving outside because they have the media, they have the books, they are writing about the books. That's why they say the majors of Africa, if you want to hide something from Africa, hide it in the books, which is not true. So Africans must rise to that capacity, especially scholars. Have passion for your heritage, have passion for your life. Write about your land, write about the peace of our land. Don't hide anything so that the world will see how Africa is moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, meaningful scholarship is essential to broken world because it often not only means to understand the societal problem, but also a platform for change. Writing for a cause empowers scholars to address inequality, promote justice, and foster social transformation by engaging with the real world issues. African scholars have demonstrated that, but we need to do more. We need to do more. What's happening in Jamaica? What's the culture of Jamaica? What's the heritage? Let's provoke them and show them that we know the books. Because we are the foundation of knowledge. They stole everything from Africa. and they're telling the world about us. Instead of us, the African scholars, to tell them about ourselves. We are so relaxed. So I'm challenging everyone today. Rise up to your heritage. No matter what you are going to write about your heritage. Write about Africa. Let them tell them. Let us show them that we are not inferior, but we are human beings. We are the foundation of the earth. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this moment. I believe that with time, we'll have more moments to discuss about African heritage. We'll write more about Africa so that the world will know that we are not left behind. They will know that Africa is not a burial ground, but the cradle of human existence. Thank you.
Wow. Please let me have those claps rising. Let me have them rising. Let me have them rising. Thank you so much, sir. I am very blessed that I cannot, in fact, mention how many people are inspired and provoked tonight. Even for those people who were not a part of this class, please get ready to get trained to write. Yes, to write. Let us not just stay there and then we are being told history. Let's now begin to write our story and me story. So thank you so much, and God bless you, sir. God bless you, increase you for your future endeavors, where you continue to strive, and God bless you so much. At this juncture, in fact, I feel like everything has been flowing beautifully. We've just been talking about Africa decolonization and us having to write, and the next center.
Before the next presenter, let me make a statement about Samdung Africa. Especially for those in Jos. Samdung is actually preparing to be a Nigerian lawmaker from the next election member House of Representative for Jos South and Jos East constituency. And he is a staunch cultural man, right? He has a PhD, he's a doctor of music, but when you follow him on social media, you will never know that he is a doctor. But this man has a lot of research. I published a certain research about the Birom culture and how our language can be used in development in Plateau State. He is a co-author of that research work, and really Samdung has been doing a great job. Select Media Africa have produced a brief written documentary about his mother, which is a great icon in the Birom culture of Plateau State. She died a long time ago when she was just 35. And Samdung grew with that spirit, and actually he has really been representing Africa. His name is Samdung Africa. That's he's popularly known as Samdung Africa. If you call his real name, many people may not know. When you mention Samdung Africa, when you go to Select Media website, just type Samdung Africa, you will see a lot of content we have published about him, even his declaration of interest to represent Jos South and Jos North. So we are really proud of you. And actually, he has been a very big support. The first client we get in Content Creators Hub was through his referral and recommendation for us to monetize. And we really appreciate you, Samdung. I call him Dara. Dara means father. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I'm really honored to have you here. Thank you, sir. Let's celebrate him, please.
We honor you, sir. We honor you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm going to bless you and bless all that you do. We will live to celebrate your victory in the ballot in Jesus' name. Thank you so much.
I will invite all of you to Nigeria to come and celebrate with me.
Oh.
I'm happy with the family.
Definitely, man. Me and TJ already plan to take a trip soon.
Thank you very much.
Looking
Reverend
forward to that.
Polycarp, I hope you're doing well. TJ.
Yeah, my doctor. I'm doing very well.
Have this conversation after.
My doctor.
Yes.
Thank you.
So our next speaker, all the way from South Africa, is a wonderful scholar. In fact, I think you need to see him in class. That man is amazing, and we just want to welcome at this point Simiso Marvin Ntobela. Like I said, all the way from South Africa, and he will be presenting on the topic decolonizing Christian leadership evaluating power, gender, and institutional governance in Zionist churches of KwaZulu Natal. Please, Mr. Simiso, you are welcome, sir. Over to you. Yes, Mr. Simiso, you're welcome, sir.
Simiso, I think your mic is off in case you're speaking. And actually, Simiso was a supervisor of TJ during their class project. Your lecturer is presenting now.
Can you hear me now, colleagues?
Yes, my supervisor.
Thank you. Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, program director, to the guest speakers, and our lecturer, John Selle, the entire Selle Media team. I'll be presenting a topic on decolonizing Christian leadership, looking at power, gender, and institutional governance in Zionist churches of KwaZulu-Natal in particular. My name is Mison Tobela. I'm currently based in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, and I'm a student of the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Just to give a bit of background to my topic, the rise of Zionist Christian churches in the country has emerged around the early 20th century, mainly as a response to colonial domination, racial exclusion, and cultural alienation produced by mission Christianity during the early apartheid years. Rooted in African spirituality, biblical faith, these churches kind of indigenized Christianity through healing, prophecy, and sacred rituals. The movement was shaped by figures such as Egenas Lechanyane, with almost 6 million membership currently in the country. They are one of the largest Zionist churches that was founded around 1910. Zionist churches from there then grew rapidly amongst Black communities seeking spiritual power, social dignity, and cultural restoration under the conditions of the apartheid government and dispossession. African independent churches, particularly Zionist churches in KwaZulu-Natal province within South Africa, stand as enduring testimonies of African spiritual agency and resistance to colonial ecclesial domination. Yet the same institutions born out of emancipatory impulses and born out of nationalist movement fighting the colonial regime, we see them now exhibiting the same patterns that often reproduce hierarchical, patriarchal, and opaque structures embedded in missionary Christianity. Can you see the next slide, colleagues?
Yes, we are.
For the problem statement, firstly, the problem statement for this paper centers around maybe 3 elements: the reproduction of hierarchical structures by the so-called independent churches that came or that were born out of the emancipation of Black people from Western and missionary churches. But then we discovered that these churches, in terms of their own structure now, when they're established, they kind of replicate or resemble the same colonial structures or systems when they set up their own structures post their independence. So this paradox raises critical question about the nature of empowerment within these institutions. Opaque leadership dynamics, despite emerging from the context of spiritual emancipation from the West, many African independent churches, in terms of their leadership dynamics, the style, how the leadership is elected, the entire governance structure, who has access to leadership, especially their congregants and women in particular, and this obscurity kind of hinder effective participation by women. It hinders active participation by youth. The third element, the need for contextual interrogation. There's an urgent need for to interrogate how then leadership authority in these churches is constructed. How is this leadership legitimized within the framework of Zulu cosmology and African spiritual epistemologies? Because they in the setting of Zulu culture, but then we see them not borrowing from the Zulu culture. You find that in our tribal codes within the tribal system, which is recognized by law in this country, there is even a special component of women that need to sit in the tribal chief's court when cases are decided. But then when it comes to church, we see that women are kind of excluded. So we then question, why are we not borrowing from the cultural and the spiritual heritage of the local people? In terms of the research methodology, we use a systematic review of literature. This article will conduct a systematic decolonial review of scholarship published between 2018 and 2025 to interrogate how Zionist churches in KwaZulu-Natal construct, legitimize, and negotiate leadership authority within socio-cultural environment shaped by Zulu cosmology and African spiritual epistemologies and persistent gender power arrangements that we experience in the province. In terms of the theoretical framework, the paper will be from the decolonial lens theory, looking at decoloniality as a lens for re-evaluating leadership, authority, and epistemic emancipation. We are also going to use indigenous authority systems, Zulu cosmology, ancestral mediation, and communal decision making that I was referring to earlier. We will also touch on African feminist theology and use that to expose some of the gender power relations, the exclusion of women from formal ecclesial authority, and epistemic marginalization of women's spiritual labor. There is an author, I think it's M.A. Odeyu, that I'm going to borrow from largely in terms of this theoretical framework. Some of the gaps in terms of research now, the research gap highlights a limited understanding of how leadership authority is constructed and negotiated within Zionist Zulu churches. Despite the prominence of these churches in African spiritual landscape, there is also insufficient scholarly attention to the complexities and nuances of leadership dynamics in these settings, particularly concerning the influence of Zulu culture, the influence of Zulu cosmology and traditional practices in the church setting. One of the core patterns that we picked up as a gap is that scholarship is very theoretical, historical, macro level, with limited micro level congregational data. As the previous speaker said, we must not write for the sake of theorizing, because that is a luxury that Africa cannot afford. But there's very limited ethnographic work that is done targeting this particular cohort of Zulu people within Zionist Christian setting. So there's that heavy reliance on conceptual and decolonial theology without ethnographic grounding. Scoping reviews, sometimes in the main, we see that they dominate, but then there's that thick description of lived experiences of the people. It's just somehow excluded. The lived religion approach is excluded. Leadership successions and case studies that we have seen are largely focusing on the ZCC, which is the largest Zionist churches, but very few look at the other almost 20 million Zionist churches, which are smaller than the 6 million. So everybody seems to focus on the larger grouping, while there are smaller groupings that make up a bigger number than where the current focus in terms of scholarship is. So the implication then of the paper is that we'll try to fill that gap by offering a context-specific, empirically grounded, KZN-based analysis of governance, power, and gender dynamics within Zionist churches. I also noted that one other gap, there is a population gap in terms of existing studies, when we look at Zionist churches generally at national level, but then very few studies are focusing on this particular province. The theoretical gap that we picked up is that the literature has not combined as well decolonial theory, African feminist theology, and indigenous Zulu authority frameworks. So that combination of these three elements or three different theories is also somehow non-existent. I could not pick it up where these three theories are jointly analyzed. So that is it in terms of the gaps. Let me touch on some of the findings, the debates. The study reveals kind of complex dynamics in terms of leadership structures and gender roles within Zionist churches. Some of the key findings is that the Zionist churches in the province function as hybrid institutions, where Zulu customary and association Christian prophecy jointly shape governance and leadership legitimacy. This produces a distinct localized ecclesial system that differs from both mission churches and the classical Pentecostal churches. But that being said, we also found out that in terms of leadership, women are still kind of excluded and marginalized, whereas in general Zulu customary law, women play a very important part in terms of decision making. They are afforded a role, they are afforded a voice. Now, leadership authority of Zionist churches in the province, primarily the leadership is ritualized, charismatic, rather than bureaucratic. The rules of leadership are not documented. There is no agreed upon selection process. In some, there's not even a constitution or a charter or a memorandum of incorporation with clear definition of roles and responsibilities. But as long as you have a gift of prophecy, you can display healing competence, and also your genealogy kind of plays a very big role in terms of the construction of power, the legitimization of leadership. Women exercise also substantial informal spiritual authority. The majority of them in these churches, they are the ones who are healers, they are the ones who are prophets or ritual specialists, but yet are systematically excluded from formal decision making and also making contributions to the formation of doctrine in the churches. Despite governance structures being fluid and showing high adaptability, but they are still resistant and resilient to supporting the succession that is led by women, and also to the extent of even youth in terms of leadership positions. And uniformed church orders operate as both spiritual identity markers and also governance instrument, visibly reinforcing hierarchy, discipline, and institutional belonging. The summary of outcomes and contribution in terms of literature for this particular paper. The aim of the paper really is to play an advocacy role and make some noise around this issue. Also, maybe developing strategic pathways for reforming leadership within African independent churches within KwaZulu-Natal on a decolonial perspective. We are proposing a context-responsive reform roadmap which outlines actionable steps that congregation can take in order to embrace leadership models that are rooted in African and Zulu spirituality in particular, where women are afforded a voice, where young people are also given a voice and head. Honoring African spiritual heritage, we emphasize the need to integrate indigenous beliefs and practices into church governance. The church should not only borrow when it suits them from the customs of the communities around, but those should be heavily integrated and kind of standardized in the daily life of the church. Dismantling coloniality, it's an ongoing discourse in the academic space. We then focus on strategies on how then African independent churches can continue their initial role of challenging colonial structures and also transform the lingering influences of colonial structures that are still present in their churches today. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Let me have those hand claps coming up. Let me have those hand claps rising. Thank you so much, Mr. Simiso. Thank you so much. I think we need to embrace leadership models rooted in African spirituality. Honestly, I would really implore each and every one of you on this early meeting and this graduation program today. These articles will be on the Cele Media Africa Scholars Forge website. Please, when these are out, please interact, engage. This is quality information. These issues are issues that you raise with church leaders, with policymakers in your respective countries, and they would apply. So please, when these are out, please let's interact and let's give them the necessary accolades. Let's cite them in our future works. Let's reference them. So I just want to tell you quickly of a Chinese man who once said, "Shan shan shu fu hong, shan shan." If you don't understand it, forget about it. But that Chinese man said that. So on to the next, I want to welcome someone very special. Like I said, I don't want to see you laughing. If you don't understand that Chinese, forget about it. So this person is called Jeremiah Bandi. He's an African Chinese scholar. It's not the Chinese man who said what I said, but this is what he will be talking to us about. And this particular topic will be about healing. And I want us to pay attention. It's called prion inhibitory effects of traditional Chinese medicine. Evidence, active components, and therapeutic implications. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Jeremiah Bandi for his presentation. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, sorry, Jeremiah might not be presenting. He sent me a video today, just I think an hour before this meeting. He joined, but he's not able to present because he had should I call it operation, a surgery today. So unfortunately, he will not present, but his story will be on the Cele Scholars Forge website. You can read more about his work and also brief about Jeremiah Bandi.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, our host, for communicating that. All right, over to the last presenter, last but not the least. In fact, I feel like there was a special reason as to why we made sure she was the last, because you would love, first and foremost, her energy. And then you will get to be familiar with her passion. then you get to see the healing and the impact this wonderful, powerful, and resilient woman is about to bring to kids and their families in St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, this juncture, I want to be introducing Monifa Whittaker, a Guyanese Hittitian scholar, and her topic is, listen carefully, like I said, a topic that will bring healing. It said dietary patterns, behavioral regulation, and cognitive functioning in autistic children, St. Kitts and Nevis context. Please, with a round of applause, please welcome Mrs. Monifa Whittaker. Welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for welcoming me.
You're most welcome, my beautiful darling wife.
Allow me to share screen. All right, as stated earlier, my topic is dietary patterns, behavioral regulations, and cognitive functioning in autistic children, a contextual analysis in St. Kitts and Nevis. And your presenter, yours truly. So the background of this topic, the hidden link between diet and neurodevelopment. Scientific research on how dietary patterns influence behavior and cognitive functioning in autistic children remain critically limited across the Caribbean, particularly in St. Kitts and Nevis. Educators frequently observe emotional dysregulation, sensory challenges, and inattention in their classrooms. Yet, these behavioral patterns are often addressed without examining diet potential impact on neurological and behavioral outcomes. This knowledge gap leaves practitioners without region-specific, evidence-based nutritional strategies to support our autistic learners holistically. The problem, the gap in the Caribbean resources. So there is limited regional evidence, meaning there is absence of Caribbean specific linking nutrition and neurodevelopment in autism. There's limited studies there. You have local dietary context. We have a high sugar environment and a unique eating pattern which remain unexplored. Cultural beliefs, parental perspective on diet behavior connections, they are not documented, and there is an educational disconnect. Teachers lack nutritional framework to support the behavioral regulations they are witnessing within their classrooms. What is the aim of this research? The primary goal is to examine dietary patterns, shape behavioral regulations, and cognitive functioning in autistic children. The specific focus to explore local eating habits, our high sugar environment, and parental belief influencing behavioral and cognitive outcome. The regional impact to fill the critical gap in regional specific research connecting nutrition with neurodevelopment in the Caribbean context. The methodologies that were applied in this study using a qualitative descriptive design, this research will collect rich contextual data from multi-perspective across St. Kitts and Nevis. It will use of things like parental interviews. We will explore dietary choices and observe behavioral patterns, teacher consultations, documenting classroom behavior of attention and regulation, practitioners' input. We will be gathering professional insights on diet cognitive connections. expected outcome and impact. Dietary factors identified, so the key nutritional elements contributing to behavioral dysregulation in autistic children will be documented with cultural context, cognitive connection clarified, nutritional influences on attention, memory, and executive functioning will be mapped across homes and environment. Cultural challenges highlighted, dietary patterns specific to St. Kitts and Nevis that impact neurodevelopment will be categorized. Interdisciplinary strategies, evidence-based framework for educators, caregivers, and health professionals to enhance holistic development in autistic learners. Significance for small island state. I am passionate about strengthening educational and developmental support system for children with autism in our small island states. St. Kitts and Nevis is rich in culture. This research aims to contribute holistic cultural grounded approach that empowers family, educators, and practitioners across the region. By centering Caribbean context, we can develop sustainable, local, relevant interventions that honor our unique dietary traditions while supporting optimal neurodevelopment. Moving forward, what are the impacts of this study? Evidence-based practices, creating nutritional framework grounded in Caribbean realities, community empowerment. We have supporting families and educators with practical, culturally relevant strategies, regional leadership, establishing St. Kitts and Nevis as the model for autism nutrition research in small island developing states. And this is the end of my presentation. I thank you. We can transform how we support autistic children through nutrition-informed, culturally responsive approaches. The end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Please let me see those hand claps rising and rising and rising. You see, I feel for, in fact, the larger population here who are, how would I say, of the younger generation without kids at the moment, at least you already have something to watch out for when you eventually have kids.
Uriel.
So you already have something to watch out for when you have kids, and together we can transform how we support autistic children through nutrition-informed, culturally responsive approaches. So thank you so much to all our 7 graduates for presenting your wonderful papers and your articles. And I just want to say again, please, these articles will be published on the Seller Media Scholars Forge website. So be ready to engage with them. Be ready to engage with them, follow them, cite them, do all you need to do to ensure that the right set of people are impacted by these articles. And without further ado, I just want to run through the program. We just have like a little part of it left. And I want to thank each and every one of you for staying with us up right this late hours. For some who are in different parts of the world, we might be in the noon session, afternoon, evening, some are midnight. So we are all grateful to all of you for honoring this international invitation and then keeping and staying in tune with all that we have been doing. We don't take it for granted, and we are so grateful. And at this juncture, I just want to welcome a wonderful person again, who is now the valedictorian of this class, this wonderful class. Please let's begin to clap before I even call the person as he'll be giving his valedictorian speech. I want to welcome Mr. TJ Whittaker, the valedictorian of this cohort 1, to give a valedictorian speech on behalf of the class. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Sir Nathaniel, and for the entire group of people here, and under the leadership of John Seeley Phillip. It's really an honor for me to represent the class and to speak on this topic, raising Africa and the Caribbean's next generation of scholars. I mean, what more can I say when we would have heard from brother Reverend Polycarp as well as Dr. Africa? I mean, they would have given us much food for thought. But I just want to greet all of you once again. And today we do not stand here merely as individuals who have completed a program, but under the capable leadership of John Sealy Phillip and his team, we stand as a collective thinkers, builders, healers, reformers, and voices for transformation. We stand as evidence that Africa and the Caribbean are not silent, not stagnant, and not secondary in the global production of knowledge. So our theme, Raising Africa and the Caribbean's next generation of scholars, is not a slogan, but I charge us to see it as a mandate. We were taught by a highly intellectual leader, a scholar, John Sealy Phillip, that education is not for applause, nor is it for titles, nor even for personal comfort alone. We were taught that knowledge carries responsibility, that scholarship must speak. We were taught that knowledge is not just what you get, but it's what you put into practice to create impact. That intelligence must confront injustice, that learning must lean towards service, and that the educated mind is not an escape from society's wounds, but a call to enter them with wisdom, courage, and solution. We learned that to be silent in the face of social disorder is not neutrality, it is participation. And I quote a statement from one of my mentors, the Reverend Dr. Sidwan Jinnit. He said, "For evil to exist," he quoted this quote, we still haven't gotten the author, but he said, "For evil to exist, it takes a good few men to do nothing about it." For evil to exist, it takes a good few men to do nothing about it. And so today, as graduates, we do not just celebrate achievements. We accept this assignment for us to go impacting lives. We come from regions that have known pain and perseverance. We come from Africa and the Caribbean, lands rich in culture, resilience, spirituality, and struggle. We know what it means to rise from colonial histories, economic hardship, fractured families, under resources, schools, migration, systemic neglect. Yet here we stand as a testament, not because the road was easy, but because the vision was stronger than the resistance. Many of us studied while working. Many of us studied while parenting. Many of us studied while grieving. And many of us studied while fighting doubts. But we endured because we believe that our communities deserve better futures than the ones shaped by silence, ignorance, and neglect. As we were implored earlier today, we were trained not just to repeat information, but to interrogate systems, not just to memorize theories, but to translate them into transformation. Not just to collect the credentials, but to carry a conscience wanting to see people freed, emancipated from mental slavery. And through this journey, we learned that as a scholar must be ethically anchored, a leader must be socially accountable. And an intellectual must never be morally detached from the suffering of the people. We are writing to address the needs of the people, to give opportunities for people to triumph. Africa and the Caribbean do not need scholars who only speak to classrooms. They need scholars who speak to broken communities, failing institutions, traumatized youth, displaced families, eroding moral structures, and forgotten villages and inner cities. We are now those scholars. And of course, we couldn't have done this without our family. We thank you. The sacrifice, you know, your sleep, time, finances, and peace so that we could study. You believed in us when exhaustion, tired to write, to rewrite our identity. This achievement belongs to you as much as it belongs to us. To our lecturer, John Seeley Phillip, and mentors and peer who would have reviewed our work, especially to you who taught us to think with responsibility and speak with courage. We thank you for refusing to let us remain shallow in a deep world. And so today we make a public declaration as a result of what we would have written, as a result of what we would have researched, as a result of what we would have heard today. We will not use our education to escape our people. We will use our education to empower our people. We will not become scholars who only publish papers, but we will become scholars who shift policies, heal families, reform systems, and raise voices for the voiceless. We will not only herd knowledge, but we will circulate it, we will translate it, and mobilize it for change. And whether we enter classrooms, clinics, pulpits, courtrooms, boardrooms, communities, or governments, we will carry with us the same question: how does my learning serve the greater good of the people? To my fellow colleagues, the world will test our integrity. Systems will try to absorb us. Comfort will tempt us to become quiet. But we must remember, we were not trained for comfort alone. We were trained for impact. Africa is watching us. The Caribbean is watching. The next generation is watching. Europe is watching. The Americas, they are watching. And from this day forward, we are not just graduates. We are guardians of knowledge for social good. On behalf of this graduating class, I declare we step forward today, not only with certificates on our heads, but with purpose in our spirits, fire in our minds, and responsibility in our hearts. May we rise, Africa. May we strengthen the Caribbean. May we lift the broken. May we challenge unjust systems. And may we never forget why we began. Congratulations to our class 2025. The future is calling. Are we ready? Are we ready? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. TJ. And at this juncture, to just climax this whole session at this ceremony is our chief guest speaker, who will be talking now on the main theme of the ceremony, which is raising Africa and the Caribbean's next generation of scholars. And our chief guest speaker permit me to read through his achievements, through his biography. It's my honor to welcome to this gathering a distinguished servant of God, a devoted scholar, and a faithful shepherd, Pastor Z, who is a Master's of Arts in Biblical Studies, In the year 2022, and earlier earned a Bachelor's of Theology from the Cameroon Baptist Theology Seminary. He is currently a PhD candidate in systematic and biblical theology. As a pastor, he has a rich history of church planting and discipleship. He is the founder and former president of the Action Disciples for Christ, a ministry dedicated to supporting struggling churches and fostering genuine discipleship. He has also planted and led Grace Baptist Church, Kaka, and later Kongwan Baptist Church, Awin. Beyond pastoral ministry, Pastor Nzi is an active scholar contributing to theological discourse. He teaches theology courses and has authored several academic articles addressing critical issues in African evangelical Christianity, from marriage and morality to the church's role in the digital age and the challenge of poverty and suffering. His life and work reflect a deep commitment to faith, biblical truth, spiritual growth, and academic excellence, bridging the world of church ministry and theological scholarship in service to God and community. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming Pastor Leonard Nzi. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. And good evening. Actually, I heard someone say good morning, which means it is morning in some part of the world, and it is evening in Kenya. And let me say it is also morning in Kenya now because it is just a minute.
This will kill the flat earthers.
So it is almost 12. So we can say good morning. It is actually an honor for me to be in this graduation ceremony. Like I heard Mata mention, that is what I could have said about myself, but not in that greater details. Because sometimes when someone else speaks about you, it is okay, but when you want to speak about yourself, you hide a lot of things. So I am actually happy to be in this graduation. And straight to what I actually have here to address, this graduation ceremony. A distinguished guest, the only faculty member, John Sele Philip. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning again. Not just a celebration of success, it is also a celebration of perseverance, a celebration of determination, because I heard that you started 20-something, and then you end up with 7 members of the class. So which means you were able to persevere and you were able to determine to finish the course. So it is also a moment of destiny that we are celebrating today. But before I address you as scholars of promise, allow me to briefly and humbly to stand before you as a fellow traveler in this scholarly journey. The route that brought me here, the route of education, the route of discipline, the route of research and vision, was not paved with privilege. It was carved with perseverance. My story, like many of you or of yours, is one of long nights with few resources, of reading when others were sleeping, of failing and returning stronger, of writing when it was or when it would have been easy to be silent, and of believing in the power of knowledge when the world offers many reasons to give up. My achievement did not heaven wrestle from the ground through hard work. Each step of my scholarly journey, each published work, each milestone achieved, and each door opened came because I refused to surrender. The conviction of knowledge is power, and that Africa deserves thinkers, builders, writers, historians, philosophers, scientists, and visionaries. So, when I stand before you or sit before you today, I do not speak as a distant guest. I speak as a proof that discipline can defeat advantage or disadvantage. I stand as evidence that if one child from our soil can rise through learning, then millions more can do so, even greater things. And that is why this topic, our theme for today, it is a timeless issue. It is a mission. Raising Africa and the Caribbean's next generation of scholars. So for me, it is a mission that we have to fulfill in this generation. So we speak honestly. We must speak honestly. Africa is rich in materials, bloodlines, creativity, culture, and history. But for far too long, scholars have described our continent as one that lacks a strong reading and research culture compared to others. I do not say this to shame us. I say it to awaken us. The problem is not intelligence. The problem is access, motivation, system, and mindset. The African mind is not inferior, and the Caribbean mind is not dormant. It has not been challenged enough. It has not been protected enough. It has not been inspired enough or even invested in enough. So today, graduates, that must change with you. Chinua Achebe once said, "A man who does not know where the rain began to beat him cannot know where he dried his body." You must know your history, not to dwell in the pains, but to rise beyond it. You must know where Africa and the Caribbeans have been to decide where you will take them. Nelson Mandela famously said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." That statement was not poetry. It was a Education is not just a tool for employment, it is a weapon for liberation. And Marcus Garvey reminds us, a people without the knowledge of their history, or with their history, origin, and culture is like a tree without root. Yet, many of our young people know more about celebrities than they know more about Kwame Nkrumah, more about foreign trends than they know about their own thinkers. They know more about social media than they know about scholarly journals. Awole Soyinka warns us that man dies in those who keep silent in the face of tyranny. And today, I add, the mind dies in those who keep silent in the presence of ignorance. Dear graduates, silence is no longer an option. You are graduating in a time when the world is fighting not only for resources, but for ideas. The world is being shaped by those who research, by those who innovate, by those who publish, by those who discover and invent. While some are busy scrolling, others are building. And while some are posting, others are progressing. And while some are watching history, others are writing history. You must decide your own position today as you step out into the world. To raise the next generation of scholars, 4 things must be reborn in you today. Number 1, love for reading. The love for reading. Reading is no longer fashionable, yet it remains a fundamental skill. The most brilliant mind in history were keen readers. Malcolm X taught himself in prison through books and said, "My alma mater was books, a good library." And I say, if a man in a prison cell could educate himself until he shocked the world, what excuse do we have in classrooms or on a platform like this, full of opportunities? Greatness hide in pages, brothers and sisters. And readers today become leaders tomorrow. You must read beyond exam if you are to take exam. Read beyond your field. Read across history, science, philosophy, theology, politics, and culture. Read African authors. Read the Caribbean scholars. And read to build your mind, not just your grade, if you were to be graded here. And secondly, the discipline of research. Research is how humanity moves forward. Without research, medicine does not advance. Without research, nations do not develop. And without research, scientists do not transform the world. Africa cannot rise on borrowed ideas, brothers and sisters. And also the Caribbeans cannot grow on recycle solutions, just doing the same thing that used to happen. We must research our own problem and create our own solutions to our problems. Kwame Nkrumah once said, "We face neither east nor west. We face forward. The forward path must be guided by African and Caribbean research, driven by African and Caribbean minds. This is your calling, to become a problem solvers of your nations." And the third thing is the courage to think differently. The world does not change because people agree, brothers and sisters. It changes because someone dared to think differently. The scholars of tomorrow are not robots. They are revolutionaries of thought. Albert Einstein once said, and I quote him here, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." And Maya Angelou said, "You can use up creativity, or you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have it." And graduate, let your thought be bold. Let your question disturb comfort, and let your ideas challenge outdated system. You were not educated to blend in. You were educated to stand out. Don't blend in, but stand out. And fourthly, the commitment to give back. You need to give back. A true scholar not only rise, but a true scholar lift others. If education benefits you only, brothers and sisters, it has failed in its purpose. You must mentor young students. You must encourage reading in villages and towns. You must create libraries, reading clubs, digital classrooms, research groups, and learning space wherever you go. If you climb and you now, let me speak to you directly. You are a generation that must Caribbean stories. You are the voice that must silence the narrative of weakness. You are the minds that must disrupt the cycle of intellectual dependency. You are the pain that must author new future. If you do this, and I would say here that Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, and let me also mention Cameroon, Jamaica, Barbados, Haiti, Tobago, your nations are not poor in potentials. They are only waiting for prepared minds. And I know those prepared minds are here already. And you need to walk out of here, challenge the system that is in place. Will you rise only to earn a salary? And I think the answer is no. Or you will rise to create solutions. Will you chase only comfort, or you will chase change? Will you aim merely to survive, or you will decide to shape history? The next generation, the next great African philosopher is here seated. The next Caribbean scientist is among you here. And the next Nobel Prize winner, and the next great theologian, and the next groundbreaker or groundbreaking researcher is here among us. And also the next transformative educator is sitting in this very gathering here. Look around. Look at your classmates, if you can see them, and I know you can see them through your screen. You are not ordinary, brothers and sisters. Say it with me. I am not ordinary. Because I believe you are not. You are a generation of thinkers. You are a generation of builders, of writers, of innovators, of pioneers, and the world is waiting, not for your excuses, but for your excellence. Give them that. And in conclusion, I call on you, or I call you to 3 actions as you step out of this place today. Number 1, commit your life to lifelong learning. Graduation is not the end of education. It is merely a milestone on the path. It is the beginning of responsibility. Number 2, commit to research and innovation in your community. Let your knowledge solve real problems. And thirdly, commit to raising others. Because the generation that transformed Africa and the Caribbeans, or become a generation that transformed Africa and the Caribbean through this education. In the words of Nelson Mandela again, it always seems impossible until it is done. And today, standing before me is proof that the impossibility has already begun to be happening or to be possible. Go forth as scholars, brothers and sisters. Go forth as thinkers. Go forward as history makers. And may Africa and the Caribbean rise higher because you choose knowledge over ignorance, discipline over distraction, and purpose over comfort. Congratulations, class of 2025. The world awaits your brilliance. God bless you.
Thank you. Let me have those hand claps rising. Let me have those hand claps rising for Pastor Leonard. Indeed, thank you so much, sir. He said, research is how humanity moves forward. Africa and the Caribbeans cannot move forward on recycled solutions. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have been provoked yet again to be ready to make and to bring about solutions. And to remind you, you are not ordinary. You are not ordinary. So let's go out there and charge our word. Let's go out there and give solutions and write our own history. Write our own history, not history, but our history, me story, you story. Yes. Thank you so much, and God bless you, Pastor. And at this juncture, I just want to, as we get ready the certificate to be projected and be called upon by our host, I just want to give Mr. Simiso Ntombela the opportunity to just give a 1 minute, a 1 minute appreciation and also a testimony, because we don't want you to leave here, aside from the presentation, we want you to hear the voice of evidences of what some of these people have to say in the past. So while he does that, we'll be getting ready the certificates to be projected, and then the chief host will take charge from them. So Mr. Ntombela, you're welcome, sir, to just give your testimony and also your appreciation.
Thank you. Good evening again, colleagues. In terms of cause feedback and testimony, this program is quite unique compared to other programs that we have seen doing rounds online and in social media. It's even unique to other programs one has done from public universities. It provided an excellent balance in terms of ethical responsibility and practical mastery of AI tools, ensuring that we use prompts in ways that are innovative. It empowered me, especially in particular, to kind of translate complex scholarly ideas into clear, smaller, structured outputs. We went step by step, per chapter, per section, to make sure that the different elements of a research paper or a research thesis or dissertation, depending on which stage you are at. So all those were covered in smaller structures, and also how each prompt was customized for that particular section, that just did it for me, to make sure that again we don't lose that academic rigor. I valued how also the course emphasized the human voice, and originality. Most of us kind of struggled in terms of humanizing, but you struggle to humanize if you want to use largely AI to humanize. But then the course kind of forces you to think and to incorporate your voice, your own arguments, your own ideas into the paper as well. Instead of going through each platform, be it ResearchGate, Google Scholar, or any other online platform to search for different journal articles or books, we could source or identify our sources for research just through a single platform, but not limiting us then through that route, but it kind of helps us to manage time, because most research students struggle in terms of identifying sources to back up their research topic. So for us, that's been a plus. The course was comprehensive enough as well to start us from designing a research topic, making sure that it's not too broad, it's specific, we zoom in. So it's a very, very basic course. But then as we went on, it got a bit more advanced. and that's when we lost some of our soldiers, But then John kind of encouraged us not also to replace critical thinking and critical reasoning and our practical experiences You now remember him saying that, use some of your own now personal examples from your own setting, from your own context, so that the paper carries a bit of weight, So the focus on responsible use of AI kind of shaped how I approach authorship, citations, and intellectual integrity. I made an example in class of an article that I saw on Facebook. It's an article that's about 70 years old, where South African teachers were protesting against the use of calculators in high schools. And look at where we are now, post the 20th century. I mean, decades later, calculators are like an everyday thing. So the responsible use of AI, I think we should advocate for, even with other public and private institutions throughout the continent. It's not an enemy. This innovation is there as a tool to help us to advance our ideas. And also, I would like to thank the team. The team has been excellent in terms of allowing every member to participate. So you don't get swallowed during the program. It does not become a one-man show. The program was very participatory, it encouraged participation. But then also, one thing that struck me, initially I saw that the outline, there is less theory, 80% of the time it's practical. And I asked myself, I wonder how is this guy going to do this? But then we found ourselves doing it because of his leadership and guidance, and we managed to sail through. Overall, I would say the course kind of enhanced our confidence, to write more, to collaborate more, to partner more, and make sure that Africa produces more scholars over the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then this will be the standpoint where we all now become ambassadors of this course, because we are planning to have this course over again somewhere in February. So please, let's be advocates for the next set of scholars in Africa and the Caribbean, and also the larger part of the world, Europe, wherever it is. We need to have more scholars. So thank you so much. And at this juncture, we are rounding up, where this will be the point where I will hand over the meeting or ceremony to the chief host, as he will be issuing the certificate and then closing the ceremony. I was your anchor, Kamo Mata Nathaniel, and I feel so blessed and happy to have been your anchor today. God bless you.
Please, let's clap for Nathaniel. Let's clap for him. Let's clap for Nathaniel. Let's clap for Nathaniel. Let's clap for Nathaniel. It's really, really good. We are coming to the last part of this great occasion. Actually, we never thought we're going to take up to 3 hours. And this graduation shows a practical part of this class, where the class was scheduled 2 hours per session, but we end up spending more than 3 hours because of the practical work. From the testimony of the students, you could hear clearly that we lost some of our soldiers when the work became very, very intense, right? I try my possible best to make the course as simple as possible, right? But some couldn't cope up to the end. But we really celebrate these great ones who have reached to the end. We love you and we celebrate you. We are coming to a point where we need to issue certificates to these great students. These are from issuing this certificate, you become a brand ambassador of the Eagle Scholars Forge, and also a testimony of the bigger vision of Cele Media Africa to amplify the unheard African voices. And for the fact that these are people who have not published, We have trained them to a point of publishing their first work before the end of this year. And someone like TJ was telling me he will try to publish about 2 before the year runs out. So it's a great testimony, isn't it? So it shows that we are working in accordance with our vision. And I want to encourage you that please don't be selfish with this knowledge. Don't be selfish with this skill. Refer other people to us. We're going to do this program again somewhere in February. Every quarter, we'll be doing it about 4 times a year. So somewhere around February, either beginning or ending, you can try to start marketing us, get people for us who will enroll for this course. And I've shared with you guys our bigger vision to establish our head office in Jos Plateau State, because we want to venture more into documentary videos about the genocide against Christians in Nigeria. And all the money we got from your fees of this course is going towards that project. And when you are able to refer more students to us, you are able to support our vision of establishing that head office in Jos. And also, if you are blessed and you have friends who are blessed and want to support this vision, they want to donate to us, we are very, very open. Please don't be silent. Support us whatever way you can, so that we can continue to amplify the unheard African voices. I want to appreciate especially our great guest, right? The last man that spoke was the one that introduced me to scholarly writing. And you can see I'm the extension of his knowledge. Today, you guys are celebrating the knowledge or the skills you have acquired from this class, but the virtue of him baptizing me into this same work, right? And I'm really, really proud of myself, and I really appreciate. I call him doctor. I call him doctor. Though this is an academic program, since he have not gained his PhD, I'm not supposed to call him, but permit me to use it because I've always done that, and I give him that honor. I call him doctor to honor his support and his encouragement for me to venture into this area. And I really love research. So thank you so much. Okay, even Nathaniel said he was his lecturer too, a great philosopher. Yes, he is also a philosophy lecturer. So he's really, really a great man. And he has published over 20 research articles. If you go to ChatGPT, put Leonard Nzi, you will find every information about him as much as possible. It seems like Elijah wants to say something. Before Elijah says something, while I project the certificate, let me introduce you.
No, that was a mistake. That's fine.
Okay. Polycarp is my colleague. I've shared during our session, I shared a certain article about the Durham language and its resilience in development in Plateau State. He is my co-author. He's a great orator. I believe you can hear his presentation, right? He's a great orator, and also he is a scholar. And we have published quite a number of research. And if you have seen some of the places I visited in Nairobi, we always go with him. I will always go with Dara Global. That's the name we give him, Dara Global. So he is a testimony, and he is also a carrier of the vision of our company, because this man of God here was kidnapped by Boko Haram and was tortured for over 7 months. Imagine being in the den of Boko Haram. And his testimony, actually, I have written a documentary research about the genocide against Christians in Nigeria. I've not yet published it. He is among the people reviewing that article because I wrote his story there. And really, him being alive today is the work and testimony of God. And because of him, we need to amplify those voices that have not been heard. And in the coming months, we're going to feature his story, full, well-detailed story, as even a research article 1, and also as a news concerning Media Africa, and even a video documentary of everything that happens to him. So those are things we're working. So please put in money in our company. You are supporting the bigger vision we have. Connect to us, help us to get students. And for those of you who have the vision of, organizing this kind of training in your countries, I am available. You want us to travel to your country to train on ground, that can be possible. We can also train on internet, just the way we did. We learned through the media, but it was practical intensive. And that's to tell you how much I am pro-practical. And during the course, I keep encouraging and building that relationship with you to tell you how much I'm also pro-learners, right? So If you have that mindset, you're able to get people, even if it is 10 or 7, in fact, even if it is 5 people from your country that are willing and ready to enroll for this course, I will be ready and very available to train them. And we are working on that plans to do that in South Africa with Simiso. And I pray for great Simiso in the coming weeks. We're going to plan on that very, very well. And let us push with that plan. And I expect the Caribbean, we have 3 graduates from the Caribbean and 4 from Africa. As big as Africa is, we produce 4 graduates and Caribbean 3. So you can see our number is almost equal. So TJ, you and Elijah and Monifa, you have the responsibility to raise more scholars from the Caribbean region. God bless you. Now let's go into our certificate presentation. Okay. TJ said he always learned from the best. And I can attest to you that even your certificate is the best. It is very beautiful. You're gonna love it. Okay. Let me share my screen. I don't know if you can see my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Because okay, good. I can't see the event, so just keep me updated. You can also open your camera, especially Simiso. We have not seen you today. I think these great people may need to see you, right? And for Nathaniel, you can help us to take the pictures of the event, right? Okay. Now, our first certificate 001, the certificate ID is here. Certificate ID ESF. That's Eagle Scholars Forge 001. This is the first certificate we are releasing today. And this certificate, we are presenting it to the first and only lady in the Eagle Scholars Forge. Please, thank you so much for those clapping. Clap for her. This certificate
Rose upon the thorns.
Yes, it's presented to Monifa Whitaker for her active participation and successful completion of the masterclass on scholarly research article writing, held from 1st to 7th December 2025 under the Eagle Scholars Forge, an initiative of Select Media Africa. She authored the article, Dietary Patterns, Behavioral Regulation, and the Cognitive Functioning in Autistic Children, a contextual analysis in St. Kitts and Nevis. Congratulations, Monifa, congratulations. Our great scholar from the Caribbean, God bless you. And we celebrate you in Select Media Africa and the Eagle Scholars Forge. Our next certificate goes to Jeremiah Vandy for his active participation and successful completion of the masterclass on scholarly research article writing, held from 1st to 7th December 2025 under the Eagle Scholars Forge, an initiative of Select Media Africa. He authored the article, Prion Inhibitory Effect of Traditional Chinese Medicine, Evidence, Active Component, and Therapeutic Implications for Prion Diseases. Congratulations, Jeremiah Vandy, though I don't know that he have rejoined. Congratulations, we celebrate you in Select Media Africa. Our third certificate is presented to Santigue Fode Kamara from Sierra Leone for his active participation and successful completion of the masterclass on scholarly research article writing, held from 1st to 7th December 2025 under the Eagle Scholars Forge, an initiative of Select Media Africa. He authored the article, Assessing the Current Energy Mix in Sierra Leone, Challenges and Opportunities for Diversification, Explore Hydro, Thermal, Solar, and Biomass Contribution and their Sustainability. Congratulations, Santigue. We celebrate you, the only Muslim in our class. Our fourth certificate is presented to Massa Samuel from the Republic of Uganda for his active participation and successful completion of the masterclass on scholarly research article writing held from 1st to 7th December 2025 under the Eagle Scholars Forge, an initiative of Salem Media Africa. He authored the article, Digital Democracy, Public Health, and Disinformation, Managing Health Misinformation during electoral period in Uganda. Let's celebrate Massa. Congratulations, Massa. Our fifth certificate is going to a great Jamaican scholar, Elijah Cunningham, for his active participation in successful completion of the masterclass on scholarly research article writing held from 1st to 7th December 2025 under the Eagle Scholars Forge, an initiative of Salem Media Africa. He authored the article, Understanding Depression in Young Jamaican Women, a study of cultural and social influences. Congratulations, Elijah. We celebrate you and we love you. Go out there and explore and raise more scholars in Jamaica. Our sixth certificate is going to a great South African, the only man who received our advert in South Africa and enrolled for this course and was very active for his, that is Simiso Marvin Intobela, for his active participation and successful completion of the masterclass on scholarly research article writing held from 1st to 7th December 2025 under the Eagle Scholars Forge, an initiative of Salem Media Africa. He authored the article, Decolonizing Christian Leadership, Evaluating Power, Gender, and Institutional Governance in Zionist Churches of KwaZulu-Natal. Congratulations, Simiso. I'm so proud to have you in this class, and your presence in this class contributes a lot to all of us. We love you. We celebrate.
Oh, yes.
You raise more scholars in South Africa and Africa. Congratulations. Finally, our sixth certificate goes to TJ Whitaker from St. Kitts and Nevis for his active participation and successful completion of the masterclass on scholarly research article writing held from 1st to 7th December 2025 under the Eagle Scholars Forge, an initiative of Salem Media Africa. He authored the article, The Psychological Impact of Absentee Fathers on Youth in Developing Countries, a study of the Caribbean region. Congratulations, TJ Whitaker. Go to Caribbean and raise more scholars for us. Congratulations. Now we are going to appreciate a special category, and that is the valedictorian. Valedictorian are those representative of the graduating class of the year. And considering the fact that we have two regions, we have Africa, we have the Caribbean, so we need to have representative to speak on behalf of the class. We have one who serves as the main speaker or a main valedictorian, a primary valedictorian of the set, and then the second serves as the associate valedictorian of the set who give a testimony on behalf of the set. Certificate of valedictorian in honor of distinguished service as graduate valedictorian. The certificate is presented to Simiso Marvin Inobela for service as the associate valedictorian for the graduating class during the Eagle Scholars Forge Scholars Graduation Day hosted by Salem Media Africa. Sorry, oh my God, we're going to work on the certificate on 8th December 2025. Sorry for that error. We're going to work on that. Congratulations and thank you so much, Simiso, for your presentation and your service. Certificate of valedictorian in honor of distinguished service as graduate valedictorian. The certificate is presented to TJ Whitaker for serving as the primary valedictorian for the graduating class during the Eagle Scholars Forge Scholars Graduation Day hosted by Cellen Media Africa on 8th December 2025. Congratulations, TJ Whitaker, and thank you for taking that responsibility. Now we're going to another category, which is the final and the grade. These great keynote speakers, we don't have anything to give them in terms of monetary value, but what we have is present to them a certificate of honor. We honor them, we appreciate them for attending this event and speak to us and inspire us and for us to tap their grace, right? These people have produced, some of them have published more than one research articles. In fact, all of them, none of them have less than 4 research articles. Pastor Leonard has published more than 20 of them. Dr. Samdung has published more than 18 of them. And Pastor Polycarp, Reverend Polycarp, have published more than 5 of those research articles. And these are great men, all the keynote speakers are scholars like each and every one of us. And that is why we have to honor them for honoring us and accepting our invitation. First is my research assistant, Martha Nathaniel Camo, the great man who worked with me from the beginning of this class up to this very moment. He was the anchor of this event. This certificate of honor is presented to Martha Nathaniel Camo for serving as a research assistant during the Eagle Scholars Forge Masterclass program on scholarly research writing hosted by Cellen Media Africa from 1st to 7th December 2025. We congratulate you, Nathaniel, for giving yourself and working hand in hand with me as a research assistant throughout this training. Thank you, and we congratulate and celebrate you. Please send those emojis, send those clapping. Let's congratulate and appreciate him, especially for anchoring our event today. It was very brilliant, very, very interesting. Certificate of honor. In honor of distinguished service as guest speaker, this certificate is presented to His Excellency Dr. Polycarp Zongo for delivering an inspiring keynote address on Be a Scholar with a Purpose, right to transform, not just to impress. What a great topic during the graduation ceremony of the Eagle Scholars Forge, hosted by Cellen Media Africa. We honor you, Polycarp Zongo. We celebrate you and we love you. We say thank you as an organization and also as a class of 2025 for standing and honoring our invitation to speak and to inspire us. God bless you. Certificate of honor. In honor of distinguished service as guest speaker, this certificate is presented to Dr. Samuel Johanna Davo, that is Samdung Africa, right, for delivering an inspiring keynote address on writing for a cause. Why meaningful scholarship matters in a broken world. What a powerful topic. During the graduation ceremony of the Eagle Scholars Forge, hosted by Cellen Media Africa, we appreciate and honor Dr. Samuel Johanna Davo, aka Samdung Africa. Finally, the next certificate of honor is going to my mentor and model in the scholarship movement or the scholarship writing, who introduced me to this great job, a man with over 20 research publications. This certificate of honor is presented to Leonard Enzi, a scholar from Cameroon, for delivering an inspiring keynote address on raising Africa and the Caribbean's next generation of scholars, our main topic of the day during the graduation ceremony of the Eagle Scholars Forge, hosted by Cellen Media Africa. We honor you and say a very big thank you, Dr. Leonard, for accepting our invitation and attending this program and inspire and pass more grace to us. Thank you so much. These are the certificates that we have present to the great people that either our students who attend our class or our keynote speakers or our research assistant as in the place of Nathaniel. This certificate will be sent to you immediately. Some will receive this night, some will receive tomorrow morning. Especially the students, your certificate will follow immediately. And our great guest, you're also going to receive your certificate. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you for attending our program. Thank you for celebrating with us, and thank you for passing your grace to all of us. At this juncture, I think I will just request maybe we on our cameras so that Nathaniel can take a picture. We can, put this into our archives for documentary and also publish on our social media platforms. And for those who we have published your story on our platform, you can easily share them wherever you are, share on your platforms and create that visibility for yourself. Good, good. We can see Monifa Whitaker. We can see Polycarp. We can see Elijah, the police. At least we have a security officer in our class. No Boko Haram. We have Dr. Leonard Inzi. Good, TJ. Can you open your cameras, especially the team from Salem Media Africa? Open your camera. Open your camera. I don't know, maybe I'm the one not seeing them, but I can see. Simiso, are you around? You can open your camera. We say hello to you. Hello. We are not hearing you, Mata. We are not hearing you.
Okay, so I'm going to take a screen picture. So
good.
1, 2, 3, and thank you.
Before we raise hands, you have taken the picture already. All right, thank you so much. So this marks the end of our program. We appreciate all our partners. We have partners from Jos Film Institute, and we also have a partner from the Content Creators Hub. Yes, so those are the two partners we have in our program today. We look forward to February. You may be able to partner with other organizations. I don't know that Monifa is speaking. Your mic is off. So we look forward to having more partners so that next graduation we'll have quite a number of them to grace our event. So thank you so much. This event was streamed live. You can check our YouTube channel and share the video. Your loved ones may watch. You can also help us get more subscribers. We continue to grow in number. So thank you so much, and God bless you all. So I think I will, good. I will call on Susan to give us closing remark and then close for us with prayer. So with this, I think I can dissolve the graduation, isn't it? So I dissolve our graduation in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Thank you.
Amen. All right. On behalf of the Celebration I want to say a very thank you to our visionary CEO, Mr. John Sele Philip. Your leadership, passion, and dedication in founding and facilitating the Eagle Scholars Forge program have been truly inspiring. You've not only impacted the lives of the scholars, but also a powerful example of purpose-driven leadership. We also want to say a very big thank you to our distinguished speakers. We say a heartfelt thank you. Your time, wisdom, and inspiring words have added so much value to this ceremony and to the lives of our scholars. We truly appreciate your support and presence. And to the graduating students, may the knowledge gained here guide you. May the confidence you build empower you, and may the vision within you continue to soar like the eagles that you are. As you leave this place, may you carry the light of excellence, the fire of purpose, and the courage to make impact wherever you go. We declare open doors, new opportunities, and strength for every challenge ahead. Thank you all for being part of this meaningful celebration. Go forth and shine. in Jesus' name. All right.
Amen.
Can we pray? Can we pray?
Yes.
Okay. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the success of this program, for the strength, wisdom, and dedication you've given to us, to the facilitators, and to the scholars. Father, we thank you for we thank you for seeing us through this program, Lord. As these scholars graduate today, Father, we ask as we go before them. May they soar like eagles, declare grace with conviction, open doors of favor, provide divine connection, grant them the grace to impact lives and live with dignity. We declare this program close in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Amen.
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 So as you leave, let me play this African anthem to you all.
I am Africa, agent, the drum that beats within your chest. I am the breath of the savannah, the thunder over the mountains. I am Africa, eternal, fierce, and divine. From the first cry of dawn to the rising of the moon. In your dreams, in for
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Pocket Broker presents the treasures of 2020.
Shalom.
Okay. Shalom. So for those who may good. All right. We are going to meet tomorrow for 30 minutes. We're going to meet tomorrow for 30 minutes, and we are going to notify you of our meeting, of our interviews with the journalists. Bye. Okay, great people. How are you?
We're doing well.
Uh,
Yeah, I have to tell Mr. Nathaniel, well